This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning, September 16th. That's the date for the election. The new session of the House set to start on October 6th. An 8 p.m. curfew for Abaco, Andros, and Exuma as the Ministry of Health reports 14 new COVID deaths. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, August 20th, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Stephen Hanna will be joining us. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, we'll be talking with Dr. Charles Diggis, the CEO of Doctors Hospital, about the dire situation there in light of the COVID fight, the pandemic. We'll get the latest from him. That's coming up. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, declaring that a new mandate is needed for the people, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert is announcing on the anniversary of the FNM's 1992 election victory that the general election will be held Thursday, September 16th. Minutes making the announcement in a national address at 11 o'clock yesterday morning, 1 hour after Commissioner of Police Paul Roll, acting in his capacity as Provost Marshal, read a proclamation from the Governor General dissolving Parliament. A new session of Parliament will convene on October 6th at 10 a.m. The next election was not due until May of next year. But minutes saying that, quote, it is time for you, the people, to choose who you will elect to form the next government of the Bahamas. He said that as a result of the country reaching the goal of securing the vaccines, he said it's time now for the Bahamian people to choose who they want to lead them as they move forward toward vaccinating every person who wishes to be vaccinated. Outside of the House yesterday morning, Commissioner Roll read that proclamation, and Acting Commissioner Lovato Duncanson saying yesterday that 194,320 people were registered to vote, but he said people who registered to vote up to the end of Wednesday were still being added to the register. Voter registration for the general election ended on Wednesday. There were 181,000 registered voters in the 2017 election, with voter turnout of around 88%. Although he called on the Prime Minister to stop playing games and ring the bell, PLP leader Philip Davis yesterday accused ministers of being more concerned with politics than saving lives after the Prime Minister announced the election. Davis saying yesterday, quote, "We've been in the middle of a raging pandemic, a surging variant of COVID attacking our people in such a vicious manner, one would have to ask themselves whether we are more concerned about politics than saving lives." That having been said, the bell has been rung, and that is the first step towards a better day. Davis saying the PLP is prepared for the election and that the party will be adhering to strict COVID mitigation measures while campaigning. As new COVID cases continue to be recorded on some islands, an 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew came into effect yesterday for Abaco, Andros, and Exuma. The curfew is in effect for Abaco and the surrounding keys, as well as North Central and South Andros. From August 11th through August 17th, Abaco recorded 42 new cases of COVID, while Exuma recorded 22, and Andros recorded 3. Prior to yesterday, Abaco and Exuma had a 10 p.m. curfew, while Andros had a 9 p.m. curfew. The latest emergency order also introduces a number of measures for cruise ships porting in the Bahamas, including a requirement that all passengers 12 and older be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. That's going to be effective September 3rd up until November 1st. Cruise ships on passenger voyages will be required to submit crew and passenger manifests detailing the vaccination status of all individuals in order to enter the ports of the Bahamas. That order stipulates that the manifest has to be submitted before the ship enters a port. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health reporting that 14 people died from COVID-19 between August 13th and 17th. 9 of those were women between the ages of 33 and 84. 2 of those women were residents of Abaco, and the rest were residents of New Providence. The remaining 5 individuals were men between the ages of 46 and 71. One of the men was a resident of Abaco, and the rest were residents of New Providence. The COVID death count now stands at 330. And scores of BPL workers demonstrating outside the power company's headquarters on Tucker Road yesterday. BPL describing the move as an illegal industrial action. The demonstration coming nearly 2 months after workers marched around the building threatening industrial action if their issues, including what they called poor working conditions on the Family Islands and unfair promotions and hiring practices, were not resolved today. Overseas, Taliban fighters torturing and killing members of an ethnic minority group in Afghanistan. That's according to Amnesty International. This happened after recently overrunning their village. It's fueling fears that they will again impose a brutal rule, even as they urged imams to push a message of unity at the first gathering for Friday prayers since the capital was seized. Terrified that the new de facto rulers would commit such abuses, thousands have raced to Kabul's airport, desperate to flee following the Taliban's stunning blitz through the country. Others have taken to the streets to protest the takeover, acts of defiance that Taliban fighters have violently suppressed. The Taliban have sought to project moderation and have pledged to restore security and forgive those who fought them in the 20 years since the U.S.-led invasion. Ahead of Friday prayers, leaders urged the imams to use sermons to appeal for unity, urge people not to flee the country, and to counter negative propaganda against them. But many Afghans are skeptical, and the Amnesty report provided more evidence that undercut the Taliban's claims that they've changed. In sports, after a massive personal best throw in the second round of competition, Bahamian junior sensation Rima Odabor, sitting in the bronze medal position in the girls' javelin, the world's biggest meet for juniors, but she had to settle for fourth overall at the completion of the event Thursday. Otobor turned in a junior national record throw of 55.08 meters to finish fourth overall, just outside the medal picture. This is going on at the World Athletics Championships in Kenya. The 5-day event is currently ongoing. You can read more about how she did, though, in today's Guardian Sports section. After a 1-year hiatus due to the presence of COVID, the longest-running international bowl game, the Bahamas Bowl, returns Friday, December 17th at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. The event officially launched Wednesday during a press conference. This will be the 7th edition of the game, pitting a Conference USA team against a counterpart from the Mid-American Conference. It'll be the second time the Bahamas Bowl kicks off the NCAA Bowl season. Both conferences were represented at the press conference, and the representatives say their teams are ready to make the trip to the Bahamas to compete for the Prime Minister's Trophy. From tennis, Rafael Nadal, pulling out of the U.S. Open, says he will not play tennis again this year because of a nagging foot injury. The Spaniard sat out both Wimbledon and the Olympics because of fatigue after losing to Novak Djokovic in the French Open semifinals. The 35-year-old adding that he is completely motivated and prepared to do what it takes to get back in the best form possible. Nadal has won 20 Grand Slam single titles, tied with Djokovic and Roger Federer. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, high pressure dominating the weather across the country, while tropical cyclone Henri, getting close to hurricane status, pushes shower activity and sea swells throughout the archipelago. Boaters should be alert for the threat of waterspout activity in or near showers and thunderstorms. Swimmers and beachgoers should exercise caution along north and northeasterly beaches in rough surf and potential rip currents and sea swells. And everybody's being advised to limit outdoor activity as we're expecting triple-digit heat indices again, and so you need to remain hydrated throughout the day. For all areas today, your forecast calls for partly sunny, hot, and humid conditions with isolated showers and thunderstorms becoming fair and warm with isolated showers tonight. Small craft should exercise caution. Winds light and variable in the northwest islands, east to southeast to 10 to 15 knots in the central islands, and easterly at 15 to 20 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 3 feet or less in the northwestern islands, 2 to 4 feet in the central islands, and 4 to 6 feet in the southeast Bahamas. Seas building up to 7 feet along north and northeasterly shores. Temperature-wise today, another hot day in store. Highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel like 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit. It's time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get a loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC Financing.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Stephen Hanna. Good morning, Stephen Hanna.
Yo, what's good?
Hey, we are here. And the island, at least, I don't know if all the other islands are seeing this, but we've been hit by a red plague. Everywhere you can look, there's a red sign somewhere on every leaf.
I haven't gone outside yet. When did it happen? Did it happen like after curfew?
I wonder. I don't know. It's so bizarre. It's just like
because I'm pretty sure
when did they do it?
You
saw it this morning?
I came home late last night.
Oh, last night they were doing it after curfew?
No. I'm saying I came home late. I didn't
see
anything, yeah. But I mean, maybe I missed it.
Yeah, the producer's saying after. In the afternoon they started. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well,
they work fast,
everywhere.
diligence, I guess.
It's bizarre. There's a lot of gold stuff too, but the red is kind of weird. It's like signs behind signs, and on top of that sign, that's behind the other sign.
Well, you got a quota to make, you know, and you got a week. Ain't like you're gonna be able to use the backup ones to replace the original ones. So it's now or never. Get it all out your system.
Okay. Well, I hope they remember to collect them when it's all over.
You know they never do. I literally saw, like, right out west, one of the flyers for Hubert Ingram, like 2 or 3 years ago, that it was still out, like, because the person had put it on one of the utility boxes or something, but it was like in the corner, so you only would see it if you drove up the road from a certain angle.
Yeah. Hey, was it still the right colors? Because I know they fade.
Of course not. They fade very quickly. Yeah. But it was clearly him.
Okay. So hey, keep that in mind when you go out today. When you say, "Oh no, it's the Red Sea" or whatever. It's. Oh boy. Anyway, that's what we gotta deal with over the next 4 weeks, folks. Hope you're ready for that.
It's 4 weeks. What's the worst that could happen? Punch cut.
Hey, we want to hear from you about it, of course, and you can join the conversation. Tweet us at morningblend969 or facebook.com/morningblend969. Email us morningblend@nascar.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Coming up this morning, more on all of this, of course, and we have weather and traffic. And then coming up in Morning Blend Business, we can't forget that we are in the middle of a pandemic and people are dying and there's a crisis in the health system. And we're going to be getting, you've heard what he's been saying all week, and we're going to be talking to him directly, Dr. Charles Diggins from Doctors Hospital, about the crisis they're seeing there. And we know they are not unique there. All the hospitals, all the clinics, everybody's saying the same thing. We're in a terrible place. So we're going to talk about that this morning. A lot to get to on this Friday morning. Let's begin, though, with what else is in the news. And in the news, of course, the Prime Minister calling the election for September 16th, having the Commissioner of Police read that proclamation at 10 a.m. and then 11 o'clock yesterday morning, making that announcement, saying it's time. It's time for us to choose the people who are going to lead us from this point on. We're going to get into all of this coverage from all sides, what was said yesterday, what the opposition is saying, and then the people who tried to register yesterday and what was told to them. All right, let me, just a couple messages coming really quickly. Okay, this one is not really, anyway, we'll get to this a little bit later, but let me read this now. What would happen to health workers who abandon their jobs without legal cause? If workers at Guardian Radio refuse to show up for work, what would management do? What would Guardian Radio do? Would Doctors Hospital tolerate this? If Parliament, the real one, had nothing to do with the open Parliament, his words, then what was all the ruckus about the Speaker? Okay, I don't know what this part is about. But yeah, we've said this. Imploring everybody to go back to work. Right, the situation they say is being worked out. That more is coming this month with the August pay period. We need all hands on deck. Yes, we know you're angry, you're disappointed, you don't understand, none of us do, how certain people who just touch the steering wheel could possibly be getting money before you. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Sadly, I'm sure worse has happened to you in the public service, right? But we need you back. You're right. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. What day is it now? Day 8? This is crazy. But anyway, let's get back to the election issue and what happened yesterday. For more on what the Prime Minister announced, although I'm sure you heard it here on Guardian Radio, but take a listen to this report from our Kyle Joaquin. And let's get back with it as we sort that out there. Kyle, on what was happening yesterday with the Prime Minister. All right, so declaring that a new mandate is needed from the people, Prime Minister Minnis announced yesterday that the general election will be September 16th. He said, quote, "It is time for you, the people, to choose who you will elect to form the next government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. As a result of our country reaching the goal of securing the vaccines we need, it is now time for the Bahamian people to choose who they want to lead them as we move toward vaccinating every Bahamian who wishes to be vaccinated. Your next government will have key decisions to make in enacting post-pandemic public health legislation. Your next government will have to make other key decisions to build on the robust growth started on our watch. Your next government will have to make important decisions on rebuilding and renewing a post-COVID-19 Bahamas. A new mandate is needed to ensure that a government is in place to do this difficult work over the long term as we're reaching a critical turning point in the pandemic. I've advised the Governor General to issue the writs of election, which will be held on Thursday, the 16th of September, 2021. Let's get to that report now.
It's time for you, the people, to choose who you will elect to form the next government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
In a not-so-surprising address, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis called a snap election set for September 16th. His announcement came an hour after Police Commissioner Paul Roll, in his capacity as Provost Marshal, read a proclamation for the dissolution of Parliament.
That Parliament shall be and is hereby dissolved on the 19th day of August 2021.
With the race now on, Minnis says this is about leading the country out of the COVID-19 pandemic.
It is now time for the Bahamian people to choose who they want to lead them as we move towards vaccinating every Bahamian who wishes to be vaccinated.
With PMH on the brink of collapse and Doctors Hospital in a position where it's now deciding who gets a ventilator, the country is in the midst of a health crisis. Now a general election is 4 weeks away.
We have a long tradition of peaceful elections. Let us continue that proud tradition.
This is a different Minutes from the campaign trail. In 2017, he campaigned for a fixed election date. Fast forward to 2021, and the order of the day is a snap election. The Bahamas has not re-elected a government since 1997 when the FNM won by a landslide. During his address, Minnis stressed the strides his administration has made during the pandemic. But in the end, he stressed the importance of the democratic process and Bahamians ultimately deciding who will lead the country forward come September 16th.
In our democratic tradition, the people rule. Your collective wisdom will decide our way forward. Your collective wisdom will decide our shared future. All political parties should conduct their campaigns in keeping with public health guidelines.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
All right, there you go. And later in the day, the opposition had their say about this. And, you know, we had our Travis Carey-Carroll in Parliament, outside Parliament yesterday in Rawson Square, and he was able to pull Philip Davis over. And he did make those comments at that time as well, saying, well, he said that after days, weeks, months of saying it's time to ring the bell, he then started to say that
it's
in
irresponsible?
in the middle of a pandemic. For more on that, take a listen to this report from our Berthany McDermott.
Standing here live outside the PLP headquarters where things are rather quiet. However, the frenzy that followed the Prime Minister's announcement this morning seemingly had no impact on the opposing PLP, whose leader told us that they're not only prepared for an early election, but to be the next government.
And that is the first step towards a better day.
A candid response from Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis to the news that the general election will be held in just a few weeks. He slammed the announcement, which came by way of a national address from the Prime Minister, as nothing more than a political statement.
It was not a national address. It was a political address where he's asking the Bahamian people to look at him and believe that he would be a better person to manage the post-pandemic era. I say no. He's demonstrated that he could not manage the pandemic properly, and you're going to trust him to manage it during and after.
The bell was rung during an alarming surge in COVID-19 cases and deaths. So far in August alone, the country recorded more than 1,700 cases. Additionally, hospitals are bursting at the seams, and public healthcare facilities on New Providence and Grand Bahama are experiencing day 8 of a sick-out. Davis says this leaves one question for the general public heading to the polls.
This call at a time when no doubt the electorate may be asking themselves whether we are more concerned about politics than lives.
Davis, who is also the MP for Cat Island, Ronquian, San Salvador, said the pandemic will no doubt affect the way political parties campaign. While he admitted it is a concern, he said the party has protocols in place.
We have internally set up COVID protocols and rules for our candidates and campaign canvassers, which they are following. And we are adhering to what I call the generally accepted protocols.
Following the dissolution of Parliament, PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell weighed in, affirming the PLP's readiness to govern.
Our Progressive Liberal Party is ready, and we will be ready to govern on day one. We have the vision, the policies, and the plans to take this country forward. We have the candidates who can deliver the change that people are crying for. And we have the leadership to guide this country into a new day.
our Berthany McDermott with that report there. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what the Prime Minister's doing and what Philip Davis is saying. And is it just me, or do I need Davis to understand that whether you like what's being said, if it's a address that's airing nationally, it's a national address? I don't know if they have to have a certain type of theme or content, but anyway. Okay, little things, nitpicking.
I'll teach you, as a rule of thumb, Dwight, if the person who says it, you think that you're supposed to not like that person, then you're not allowed to agree with them on anything.
Oh, yeah, that's
a general rule of thumb.
Right.
But that's why some callers will always call in and just be complaining and be like, bro, we on the same page. Doesn't matter. They can't hear you.
Right. Okay. All right.
The general rule of thumb. If I hate this person, nothing they say can be accepted.
Not even the title of what it is. This is not a national address.
If you hate the person and the person says, hey, Dwight, and you're like, that's not my name. Oh, sorry, Dwight. That's still not my name. My name is Bob now. Don't call me anything else. I hate you.
I thought you were going to say, do I look like hey to you? Or one of those things.
Right, anything.
Right.
But you cannot agree with them. That is the most important thing.
Right. Oh, boy. All right, folks, let's hear from you, though. What are you making of all of this? We are in the middle of a pandemic. The shocking news coming late last night about the new numbers, 14 new deaths and 99 new cases in New Providence. This is as bad as ever, as you know. And is this really the time? And then did you see the video? Someone sent me a video of a mini motorcade. You saw that?
No, I felt it because last night I was trying to record some audio and there was a motorcade through my corner. I don't live on the main road, Dwight. I live through a side alley somewhere and a large motorcade drove through here.
Yeah.
I didn't go inside to see the color.
Oh, it was red. It was red. And let me tell you something, folks. These are the same people who weren't going to allow the motorcade for the Labor Day parade. Remember? A motorcade was going to be a problem. But here we are, a bunch of people on the back of vans and trucks with red flags, and it's fine. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. But hey, this is what we're going to be seeing over the next month because people will lose all of their senses. The little they had before, and for what?
I intend to see none of it. My eyes will be averted. I will look. I won't look sunward because that's how you go blind. But I will avert my eyes.
Look down. That's where we're going anyway. Okay.
If I look down, I'll see them.
323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4249. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Carly, this is Strachan, always along with you and Stephen Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Okay, you all need to turn up your volume to the telephone. But what I want to say, right? Our people, the Bahamian people, needs not to vote for anybody who wants us to go against the Constitution and our people for the saving of this country for somebody else. Let me show you something. You all get strong and ain't into nastiness. Thank you for your time, Dwight.
Okay. I don't know what that was about, really, but thank you. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Stephen.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Dwight, if you saw the video, I'm sure you saw the face of the MP that's on the side of one of the vehicles. And it's none other than our Minister of Health.
So the person recording was saying, yeah, it did look like him. Yep.
It
definitely was.
So,
okay.
And it was on South Beach. So that should explain to you the type of integrity we have in our Ministry of Health at this point.
My goodness.
But here's what I want to get to, though. Yesterday, you had Jeff Lord on your show, and you asked him about the same letter that was circulating on social media. What did he tell you? That tell you exactly what's going on with this problem right now. Well, it's not this problem, but
he was
politicians in general
finding out the same time as all of us. He says. So he said.
So this man sits in cabinet and doesn't know when the election is going to be called.
Well, they keep telling us only one man knows.
So now one man knows the day and the hour.
Well, that's what they've always told us. For that, it's only one man, and it goes with his whims.
So who took that picture?
Who took which picture?
Of the letter.
Well, I mean,
anyway, I have my theories about who would have taken that picture because only one government organization loved to take pictures with their cell phone and send it out, and then everybody's like, "Well, how they get the picture of this criminal so clear up against this wall?" It's like only one set of people is do that. But
well, there you go. But I think James need to think clearly about this stuff because aside from all the politics and where they were saying things for political expedience, look at the person who claims that they want to represent you. I guess look into the background because going into the future, if we continue looking at colors and political parties, we'll end up in the same position we are right now, probably even worse. Because PMH didn't get bad as it is yesterday.
No.
Our education system didn't get bad as it is yesterday. These things didn't happen overnight. These are continually voting in political parties rather than credible people with integrity who actually have a vision for this country. Now, if we continue down this path, God help us. Someone else will be actually making our decisions. If not, they're doing it now, but they'll probably be doing it overtly. I like Melissa.
Okay, thank you very much. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, morning. What are y'all doing?
Doing well. Good morning.
Well.
Okay, y'all can hear me clear?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. And good morning to the nation. Listening to both of your conversations this morning, Dwight and then...
Is this Anton?
Yeah, this is Anton.
Oh, your voice sounds very different. I didn't recognize you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's me. Look, you have one of your principals who's one of the brilliant minds, perhaps amongst the most brilliant of economic minds in our country, right? Mr. Ferguson. You have Mr. Gowan Bowe, who's amongst the brightest.
Why are you bringing up these names? What's
right? If you listen to it, you will learn. You would hear
he's going to say that they
trying to cut me off. If you give me a chance to speak, you would hear.
I mean, they're not running, but okay.
Thank you. You have Mr. Gowan Bowe, one of the brightest accounting minds and banking professionals in our country, who has read over all of the vision statements from the other parties, because that's all they amount to, and has simultaneously agreed that the Progressive Liberal Party's plan for the management of COVID-19 and health in our country, as well as
this is sounding like an ad, Anton. What's your? It sounds like it. What's the point you're getting to? Mm-hmm.
I'm making the point that they both acknowledge the PLP's plan is the only plan that they have seen that can get us where we need to go in terms of the growth in our economy and manage COVID-19. But to get on the statements that you read off from the news, Dwight, right, with the Minister of Tourism, right? Do you realize that they are just now asking for the cruise ship passengers or for the captains on the boats of the cruise ship passengers to provide a manifest confirming, verifying that all of the tourists on board those cruise ships have been fully vaccinated. So what has been happening with all of the thousands or tens of thousands of cruise ship passengers who's been coming to our port over the last, 4 to 6 weeks to 8 weeks now? How have they been verifying? Do you also understand that while we are in the middle of the third wave, while our healthcare plans and infrastructure is crashing, while Doctors Hospital and PMH cannot take any more patients and has to turn away patients, and God knows how they're getting assistance, while we are having healthy people, as the doctor stated in the interview recently, dying, young people, middle-aged and old people, the government is still allowing tourists on cruise ships to come into our country without knowing their COVID-19 status and without knowing if they are bringing additional Delta strains in our country. What is this government? How could you say on one hand, we are providing the vaccines for you to become vaccinated, right, to save your life, to preserve their health. But on the next hand, you are still doing things counterproductive to preserving health and saving lives by allowing tourists to come into our country and not even knowing their COVID-19 status. Tell me, Dwight, tell me, Stephen, make some sense of this. And the final point that I want to make.
Would you want us to answer that? Because you say
I would like
it felt like a rhetorical question.
Let him finish. We got to move on. Go on, Antonio.
I am unable to make any sense of it.
That's a very good question.
Absolutely no sense, right? It makes absolutely no sense. And the final point that I want to make is, Dwight, the leader of the opposition is quite right. The prime minister is playing politics just in what I explained. He is not interested in preserving lives and saving the economy. He hasn't even presented a strategic and viable plan to save the economy, much less to manage successfully this third wave that is taking more lives than we have experienced in the other two at the rate of life, a loss of life, is much more faster than the rate of loss of life in the prior two waves. These people are not serious, and I thank God he called election. That's the best thing he should have. That's the best thing he done for us, so that we could get rid of him and his entire government. Thank you for the opportunity. They all got to go behind.
Okay. The question, the one part there, yeah, that was a very good question. Amazing. We do need to know what is going on, what's been going on. We've been too lax with this situation with the tourists for far too long.
I think we all agree that the level of laxness needed to be tightened up a long time ago. We all agree with that. On the other hand, asking why are they doing that or what is this whole measure is like, I think we also know that we don't produce anything of significance. Our money is literally tied to the American dollar. And so we could shut down, but we wouldn't have any money and we would quickly run into some serious problems. And that clearly that is the state that we're in, why we haven't shut down in New Providence, even though we have massively crazy numbers, right? And so it makes sense that it would go hand in hand, that if the government feels that you cannot shut down, right, without causing massive chaos that is irreparable, that you would then encourage people to go get vaccinated, encourage people to social distance, and encourage all this different stuff. Because you're like, listen, if we shut down, ain't gonna be no money, we can't bring in the food. That's a huger problem, right? So if we're gonna remain open, we need you to do X, Y, and Z.
But absolutely, what's being done with the cruise ship should have been done.
No, right. That should have been tightened up.
Day one.
I don't think that anybody in any color shirt of right mind will say that was the perfect decision or the right decision. I think that some persons was just desperate and eager and like, whatever we got to do to get money back in the country, let's do it.
Yeah. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
Pleasant day.
Morning. How you doing?
Before I forget, I would like to belatedly, and I say belatedly because it was yesterday, wish the F&M a happy anniversary.
Seriously?
On that 19th day of August, 1992.
Why do we do this? I really don't understand. I don't get it. I don't.
You mean the anniversary?
Yeah. Why? And they would have had a church service if it had been a regular year.
I'm not sure whether they have a church service.
They would have had it been.
That's significant for democracy. That's the first time we had a change of government over the period. So
I guess
you don't want to just abandon all it. You just want to acknowledge.
Sure.
Let that pass on, though. Let that pass on.
Okay. All right.
Let us move on to some of the things.
I'm more concerned about our future. That was very significant. I agree. It changed everything.
Correct. And that's for that reason, we need some questions answered as to the nature of the election, how to be held, but more so, what is really the mandate, and what are we voting for?
Yeah.
Specifically, and also each party saying, well, here's the promises anyhow, but what will be different? Firstly, I'd like to say regarding the sea of red I see on the road, I haven't seen the yellow. So you said you saw some yellow somewhere.
Yeah, I saw some.
I want to see. Please tell me where, because I'm going to go.
You're going to drive to look at it?
No, it's certainly so. because that would be like a topic sentence.
Oh. Well, that was the first one I saw. Maybe
Where was that?
out east.
So okay, I'll go out east. I'll go east because I like to do the fact checking.
First, that was it, and then I said, "Oh, look, the PLB's out," and then I got hit in the face with the red.
Like, no, I want to see the yellow. I want to see the yellow. I want to see the yellow.
Okay, all right.
Now, in terms of the motorcade, I haven't seen the red motorcade, but I have felt the yellow motorcade, and I joined. I danced to the music and all of that. So, but we need to. It ought not to be business as usual. Just seeing and dancing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Hey, I have no problem with the motorcades. I just say it's unfair if you're going to allow this to happen when you did Labor Day motorcade. It wasn't going to be
I agree with that, Dwight, but my position on this is if you are going to have a motorcade in a residential area, you need to go and ask permission of the persons living there. The same way where I feel like if you are going to put up a sign inside a residential area, we need to get a cut of the money that Works charges you to put up that sign. That's how I feel about it. Like all these giant billboards that say Happy Father's Day and Merry Christmas and Happy Easter in the constituency of whatever. Ministry of Works charges them to put that sign up. We need, as the residents of that area, having to see this man face, having to see this woman face all year round, we need a cut of that money. And the same with the motorcade should be a higher fee because I was trying to record audio. They literally taking money away from me. There are people inside this neighborhood who have children, was trying to sleep because it wasn't like this was in the middle of the day, the motorcade. This was the end of the day. People home, it almost dark. Babies, woman trying to put their children to sleep.
Men too.
Men, well, yeah, sure. Let's pretend women men care.
Wow.
Right? So there are family members trying to put their children to sleep. All right? And all this noise and ruckus going on outside, we need compensation for that. So it's like, if you want to have a motorcade in the commercial area, by all means, you and the commercial people can figure that out. But I promise you one thing, ain't nobody gonna have no motorcade outside of the movie theater if it bothering the movie patrons. Ain't nobody gonna have no motorcade in front of Bahama.
It depends on which one. Because
but I'm saying,
sure.
One last thing, like the caller just now, right? When he says we need to figure out what it is that we're voting for. Last night I was on, I guess, a call with Spectrum Politics, right? On Twitter. I know you're familiar with Twitter, Dwight. And
okay,
somebody mentioned that we do not vote governments in when it's out. And this has been the case now for all 48 years.
No.
Right? Yep. Well, I mean, except for the repeats. But every time we had a change of government,
recently,
it was,
yes.
Yeah, every time it was a change of government, it was more like, oh, we voting out this person. As opposed to saying,
since 2007, I suspect.
Definitely from 2002.
Well, 2 is tricky. But 7, without a doubt. From 7 on.
The issue is, like, we cannot continue to just be voting people out. We have to be voting someone in.
Well, they have to present something for us to want to vote them in.
Yes, and the problem is, here's the thing, Dwight, they're dumb. All of them are dumb. Wow. They're attractive people, but they're dumb people, right? And because they're dumb, they don't know what it is that we want. They don't know what to give us. So if we're making noise and saying, because notice, every time, particularly inside this administration, if you make enough noise on the radio, it'll happen, right? Or it'll disappear. If you complain about something, it'll happen, right? Everybody's saying ring the bell, bell ring. Everybody's saying, oh, we want that, it happens.
I don't know if I agree with that at all.
I'm just saying it'll either happen or it'll disappear. I
actually think the previous administration was a little more responsive than this one, but
they was responsive, but I don't know if they was like they would vocally. Anyway, neither here nor there. What we need to do is vocalize actual things. So it's like when people say they want local government, if we all speak in a unified voice about local government, I promise you, we can see a referendum on local government.
But we don't need a referendum. We don't. But we'd have to speak in a unified voice. And that seems to be the bigger problem for the Bahamian people to come together to decide where they want this country to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Do we really know, or are you more interested in your pocketbook? That is the issue.
And we could, but that's the thing, we don't know, but at the same time, we could ask for 5, 6, we could ask for 20 things. But we need to be sure, and we need to actually say something with sense. You can't just nod your head. You got to say, that makes sense. I'm going to put that on my list of things to repeat. And not just, minutes got to go, or brave crazy. You can't just only put those things on repeat. You got to boost the signal of the things that are going to move us all forward.
Yeah. Okay, we got to take these calls before we take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Glenn.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
You can get your cut out of those billboards and stuff, young man. You can get it the same place where you cut of the what money going in the consolidated fund.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's where your cut going. Dwight, I am kind of concerned with the parliamentary department.
Yeah, you should be.
Nomination, they got to be like next week.
I'm not too sure, but it's got to be soon.
And then the advance poll got to be like maybe a week before the 16th.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're ready for this.
Yeah.
Ballots got to get printed. We got to get people in place around the family of violence, and the logistics is wow. I don't know.
And they haven't been making themselves available to the media so much. They make little interviews here and there, but it's been very bizarre. This is the least we've heard from them. This is bizarre. People,
it is. It's like
it's very odd.
No one knows what's going on, and no one's saying.
We need to be concerned. What will happen the night of the 16th of September? Will people be very confused?
I am concerned. And let me just say, I want to congratulate the Prime Minister. I don't like how it went down, but those ungrateful people who was about to do the coup d'etat on him again deserve that he go to the poll and give it to the people rather than they taking it from him in the parliament again.
You sound like you know something that the rest of us might not necessarily know.
You all know, but you all just don't say.
Oh, boy. We really don't necessarily know what you mean. One might have wondered why certain things weren't being done, but you seem to know something.
It can come.
Boy.
If it's one media host who can get the right story, it's Guardian. I know that.
Well, let's see. Let's hope.
It can come. But I congratulate the Prime Minister, because what they was about to do to him, they're ungrateful.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much. That is interesting. Oh, God.
I mean, that would make stuff make more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. That would explain a lot of stuff. explain everything.
Scales drop from everybody. I think, okay.
Well, if that's the case, then we get it entirely. It's like, okay.
Then never mind.
Never mind. Well, you might have some sense after all. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Steven.
What?
Hey, Dwight. When you want me to come for my...
What prize is this? Who did you make a bet with?
With you.
With me? What was it? Do we have any evidence to support date? What was the bet?
Right. Go check Guardian archives.
Yeah.
Right? And you will be able to find it, right?
What was the bet?
The bet was that the election would have been called. Remember when we had when we had a debate on early election, if it's going to be called? You remember that, right?
I know some of the other shows on Guardian did whole shows on it. We tried to stay away from it.
No, I don't call hardly none of those shows on Guardian, right? So I couldn't been, it was Dwight Strong.
Uh-oh. What was the bet? Remind me. What did I say?
I told
you. Said you'd eat your hat or something.
No.
It wasn't nothing big. It just was a breakfast bet.
It sounds familiar. What was?
Sound familiar?
Yeah. What was it? What did we agree? Was it be like a $2.99? Was it $1.99?
But we didn't agree on no amount, right? So it could be probably $10.99.
No, man, it got to be at least $20.
Now you need to stay out of this, Stephen Hanna.
We talking about minutes, so it's too fresh.
Well, what did you say was going to happen? You said what was going to happen.
Well, I told you that it would have been a general election because based on the data what was on the ground, right, and the freak and being around politics for as long as I've been, it was impossible for there not to be an election before November of this year.
Oh wow!
It was impossible for it not to be All right, and a lot of people read it, but the prime minister just was playing around with the emotions of people, right? But there was going to be an issue inside those with somebody if he had gone back for real, and that's the part of why he didn't, because the embarrassment was going to be too great for them to go back into general election, right? So they had to put an end to that. But this prime minister, he can't win for losing because there's no more winning, fortunately.
Well, he's certainly done a lot of firsts for the country. They'll go down in the history books, things that were never done before, and that's going to be his legacy, definitely. But thank you. You want to leave your number? We got to check the files, but we'll leave your number with the producer, and
I will
we'll
definitely.
talk.
It's a frequent caller.
Yeah, I know. I recognize, but for some reason I have a block with this bet.
No. Just check the producer. He'll help you with that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Stay on the line with him, and he'll get your numbers. All right. So while he does that, let's read some.
Dwight, you can't have no memory like no politician.
Yeah, I know. What?
I say that?
I talk to them too much, I guess.
No,
so
man.
I'm
We
getting
don't
like
say
that.
nothing about no election day.
What? Elections? Is that a thing?
And I want you to know something.
We don't do that.
This is going to be the lowest voter turnout. It might be lower than the gender referendum. And this could have been avoided if we had a fixed election day. Because the whole thing where it's like, nobody know when the register could close.
Right.
Is going to be fixed if you have a fixed election day.
Yeah.
Nobody knowing when nomination day is and how much people they need to hire and this and that. All the stuff the caller complain about or is worried about, fixed with a fixed election date. Because if our election is every January 10th or if our election is every August 19th or whichever party want to put it on their holiday, whatever that is, we'll know it's 6 months from that time. We need to start doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to read a couple of these before we go to the break. This one says, so Davis is mad because Miz called his bluff? I don't know if he's mad. I don't think he is, really. This one says here, please tell the PLP having a motorcade in a residential area after 8 p.m. will not get you any votes. Blowing horns when residents have had a long day and some are homesick is disturbing the peace. This is indeed the silly season. I think all the parties need to hear that. Everyone needs to hear that. This one says here, if you think about the industrial unrest, historically, you will find that during election season, these unrests are ramped up by the opposition party labor leaders. Yeah, we know that every single election season that happens, every union goes on some form of industrial action. That has been the case. This one says here, I guess, the same man, Brave Davis, was crying for the Prime Minister to ring the bell, is now saying the Prime Minister is all about politics and not interested in saving lives. What a laugh. Davis couldn't even take care of Cat Island, his hometown, and he expects us to believe that he can handle this country? Child, please. That's a text there. Okay. And this one says here, I was surprised to see how ready the PLP was in responding to the early ringing of the bell. Was very impressed. Oh, they've had those flyers and billboards sitting in their trunks for weeks.
For years.
Maybe years.
Waiting.
They've been waiting. Okay, we're going to take the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. Taliban fighters are ringing the airport in Kabul, Afghanistan, as the U.S. military evacuates thousands of Americans and Afghans desperate to get out now that the Taliban has taken Afghanistan. The AP's Ben Thomas takes us to the airport.
Cars are lined up and people camped out along the blast walls of Kabul International Airport, waiting and hoping to get in. Occasional gunfire can be heard. Mohammed Naim had served as an interpreter for U.S. forces.
I'm telling to the people, stay in their houses, do not come to this area. It's a very, very crazy situation right now.
But with Taliban fighters at checkpoints ringing the airport, those who make it there are not leaving. Hundreds lack papers or clearance for evacuation. That's adding to the chaos that's prevented some Afghans who do have papers and promises of flights from getting through. I'm Ben Thomas.
Vice President Kamala Harris leaves today on a trip to Southeast Asia, where she will try to reassure allies given the chaotic ending of the U.S. war in Afghanistan. Her trip includes stops in Singapore and Vietnam. Should kids wear a mask in school? The CDC says yes, and school boards in some areas of Florida, Texas, and Arizona agree. So they are defying their Republican governors and making face coverings mandatory. The 3 states are COVID hotspots. Dr. Rogers Kane is a family physician in Jacksonville, Florida. He says too many people there have not gotten a COVID shot.
We do have a certain population that tends to not believe in the vaccine, and they also have fear of the vaccine.
Dr. Rogers Kane. Investigators are considering whether toxic algae blooms may have contributed to the deaths of a Northern California couple and their baby on a remote hiking trail. This is AP News. A man surrendered after claiming he had a bomb near the U.S. Capitol building. Here's the AP's Ed Donahue.
It all started when college student Kelsey Campbell was approached by Floyd Ray Roseberry near the Library of Congress.
In his hand, like a bunch of the dollar bills that he threw, he said, "Hey, call the police and tell them to evacuate the street, and I'll give you all of this money."
Roseberry was in a pickup truck. During a bizarre live streaming on Facebook, he threatened explosions, was hostile toward President Biden, and warned of a revolution. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger was asked about Roseberry's emotional state and a possible motive.
I believe his mother recently passed away, and we spoke with members of his family, and there were other issues that he was dealing with.
Manger says so far it appears Roseberry was not acting with anyone else.
Police say they did not find a bomb in the vehicle, but possible bomb-making materials were collected from it. I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
Time for first check of traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic, not looking too bad out there so far. Just at some of the major intersections, you'll be seeing some building traffic there. As usual, though, Mile Butler Highway seeing some heavy traffic the closer you get to Tawny Gloom Starling Highway if you're in the northbound lanes. That's just north of Harold Pond. And Gladstone Road also, the closer you get to JFK Drive in the northbound lane, you'll be seeing that heavy traffic there. Blue Hill Road is building as well north of Soldier Road, the northbound lanes to Independence Drive and the roundabout. And East-West Highway and Robinson Road, that intersection looking a bit congested, building traffic there. That's what we're looking at so far. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined. And time for another check of your weather for today. We've got high pressure dominating the weather across the country, while Tropical Cyclone Henri pushes shower activity and sea swells throughout the archipelago. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly humid conditions with isolated showers and thunderstorms becoming fair and warm with isolated showers tonight. Small craft should exercise caution. Temperatures today getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will be near 100, will be at 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius, and as a result, everyone's being advised to limit outdoor activity and remain hydrated due to these triple-digit heat indices. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, moderate to strong winds will prevail across the area as an Atlantic ridge of high pressure will build across the islands. Meanwhile, seas will begin subsiding along easterly shores. So for tomorrow, Saturday, look for partly sunny, breezy, and hot conditions with isolated showers or a thunderstorm. Sunday, mostly sunny, hot, and windy with quick passing showers or a thunderstorm mainly in the northwest Bahamas. In the tropics, we've got Tropical Storm Grace over the Bay of Campeche and Tropical Storm Henri located several hundred miles southeast of Cape Hatteras in North Carolina. That's expected to strengthen into a hurricane and could be a challenge for New England over the next few days. We've also got a tropical wave located over the eastern Atlantic, several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. It has a 20% chance of development through the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. And an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
Many people wonder, what makes Boost Academy unique? Maybe it's our 8-to-1 student-staff ratio, the emphasis we place on student individuality, our focus on numeracy, literacy, and creating better citizens by sharpening students' critical thinking skills. One of our many talented teachers, program facilitators, and mentors. Or just maybe it is our commitment to taking full responsibility for your child's education, no hidden fees or costs. Regardless of what it is, let us help your child reach their full potential. Boost Academy is currently enrolling students of grades 4 through 12. Visit www.boostbahamas.com to apply now.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With stores in Palmdale, West Bay, and Old Fort Bay, and free delivery to businesses, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Are you ready? August 23rd at 9 a.m., you can begin investing with as little as $25 in an international technology national food franchise on awakx.com. What do you need to get started? Just go to awakx.com to sign up by clicking on Start Investing. So what are you waiting for? Let's go! AWACX, moving people from consumers to owners. Regulated by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Talking to the people. Try, get them to go your way. Tell us not to worry. And we won't be led astray. So blind.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. And I think everybody needs to play that song or sing it to anybody who comes to your door, especially the part, if you've got a plan, if you've got the master plan, then I've got to vote for you. And you need to ask them about that plan, the real plan.
I need more than that.
Need more?
No, I need.
Well, they got to show you how you're going to execute this plan, too.
I'm not even talking about
But we're
that.
not even getting plans, Stephen. We don't even get plans. They don't care.
Not
They're just
anymore.
now going to start printing their documents. Just
Right.
now.
Well, no, they're not going to print those documents, the plan documents. They always had the posters and the shirts. But what I was saying, the reason why I'm saying that's not enough is because I remember was it 2012, the PLPs with their booklet. That was awesome. All right. And a lot of the stuff, particularly what they had planned for the creative community, I was excited. I was like, what? This is going to happen for us lowly actors and musicians? And it didn't happen. So it's like, I don't want, because plans could also be a form of a promise. What I need is from these persons is the same way where every time you look inside the newspaper and they say, director of whatever bank is open, you need 5 years experience and proof that you know how to handle this sort of situation. I need a resume. I need a CV from y'all to say, listen, I've done this before with a $10,000 budget. If you give me $100,000, we could fix the world. Like, show me something. I don't want just, a doctor in charge of health when that doctor never ran his own clinic. You know what I mean? That's what I want. Proof. We don't need nobody figuring it out on day one. We need people who coming in and it's like, I may have never been a prime minister, but I do know how to organize persons and take them from ground zero to this point. And here's the proof of that. That's what I want.
So you're not voting this election then?
Nope.
So, okay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. We got only a few seconds.
I'll make it quick. Morning, friend. Maybe people who are thinking about running should really consider whether they want to do it as a profession or just to make some money, because, you need to know where your power is, and it's not in a book. Because the actual decision that was made many, many years ago to decide to put man in this experiment, they were determining where we're going to put the knowledge of ourselves, the supreme ones, so that when man finds it, he will find us. It was discussed. They said we can hide it in the cave, but then, that wasn't a good idea because, it's going to disappear from the cave. So let's put it deep, far in space. Then Bezos will find it and keep it for himself. The decision was to put this knowledge of God within each one of us. And leaders, if you don't find the true knowledge of God within you and you're looking in a book, a Bible book, you're lost.
Thank you very much. We got to go to the news. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Network Morning Report. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Ferguson. Thanks for tuning in. Topping the news. With the election date now set for September 16th, political parties are now in full campaign mode. The opposition Progressive Liberal Party launched its campaign last night, with one of the men hoping to be the next Prime Minister, PLP leader Philip Davis, claiming this could be the most consequential election since independence, with the country's very survival at stake. Pushing familiar attack points, Davis hit out at the F&M government's mismanagement of the economy, hurricane relief, crumbling labor relations, and the pandemic. On that score, even though he has been calling for weeks now for government to set an election date, Davis faulted the Minnis administration for focusing more on the election than the pandemic.
In the midst of this suffering and tragedy, the government is asking you for a new mandate. They're asking you for a vote of confidence. But the Prime Minister cannot solve the crisis. His incompetence is the crisis. Any responsible government would have spent the last few months preparing for a surge of COVID cases as the more transmissible Delta strain became dominant around the world. But that's not what this government did. They were too busy preparing to campaign. And to Bahamian doctors and nurses, they allowed travelers in without negative COVID tests. They failed to provide resources to our clinics and hospitals. And even as our doctors and nurses cry out for adequate resources to treat the sick, the government continues to hide hundreds of millions of secret pandemic spending. We can't take 5 more weeks of this, let alone 5 more years.
Still, Davis called the economy his party's main focus as he hyped the PLP's economic plan.
Our economy is stuck, with too many Bahamians still left out. For those lucky enough to have jobs, wages are often too low to keep up with the cost of living. And on the economy, I want to be very clear. I don't think small changes are going to do it. We're going to need big transformational changes. Our plan is a vision for a more dynamic, more resilient, more inclusive economy. It's a vision for change. It's a vision for a new day. We have a blueprint for stabilizing the country's finances, providing immediate relief to the suffering, diversifying the economy, and creating opportunity for the country.
Meantime, his deputy, Chester Cooper, questioned the Prime Minister's true motive for calling an election now, suggesting it was to avoid answering some uncomfortable questions.
Ask yourself, why would the Prime Minister call a general election at the worst stage of the pandemic, as the healthcare system nears collapse, as workers withdraw their labor, as the Minister of Health remains under a cloud of suspicion for his mishandling of the honorarium payments, and 2 days after the leader of the PLP called for subpoenas to reveal the details of the pandemic spending? It is because he is seeking to change the narrative. The Prime Minister is a desperate man, leading a crew of desperate people. They have shown that they are willing to say and do anything to stay in power.
Well, his party is carrying its own baggage into this election. Davis, who served as Deputy Prime Minister in an unpopular Christie administration and who has already faced F&M attack ads focused on his leadership record, last night asked Bahamians to get to know him.
Many of you already know me. I invite the rest of you to ignore the lies. Get to know me better. My journey was only made possible because of the opportunity of the Bahamian dream, a dream which is now sadly out of the reach of so many. If you trust us to help deliver that dream, my team and I will spend every waking hour working to bring about that opportunity in this country.
Well, potential voters who rushed to the Parliamentary Registration Department yesterday were out of luck. At news of Parliament's dissolution, they were shut out of adding their names to the new register. Gillian Gray spoke with some who felt they were not given enough notice.
Registration closed. No more registration, no more transfer.
Just after 10 a.m., a dozen people waited outside Parliamentary Registration Department in an attempt to register. However, an officer told residents that the centre was closed for registration as the House of Assembly had been dissolved.
They were disappointed and they were angry because they felt like it was a surprise to them. They wasn't expecting election to happen until next year.
A few weeks ago, rumors of an early election sent hundreds of voters rushing to registration sites. However, those who trickled in today were one day too late.
Prior to the dissolution of the House, persons would have presented themselves, but they would have been informed of the discontinuation of registration.
Acting Parliamentary Commissioner Lovato Duncanson declined an on-camera interview today. However, on Wednesday morning, he told us 194,263 voters were on the register. There are 134,029 registered voters on New Providence, 30,729 on Grand Bahama, and 28,805 spread across the Family Islands.
Remember, the numbers that we have now on the register, that would be subject to change because persons who would have been registered up to yesterday, they are also eligible to be added to the register.
Though this voter was able to get her card before registration closed, she lamented the lack of information about which centers were operating.
And I hope the Prime Minister is listening to me. Persons who came in from the Family Islands during that hurricane, if they have to get back to the Family Island to go and vote, I feel government should accommodate them with transportation to and forth.
Then there were those who slammed the government for not giving more notice on when the election would be called.
Between the COVID and Dorian and all that other stuff, and then you have a prime minister so sneaky, and just be straightforward. Just tell the people what it is and stop trying to play politics. He's hoping to do it the next election, but that ain't happen.
So what happens now that the House has been dissolved?
The facilitation of the nomination, the notices of an election. We also transition towards the preparations for advance poll, that is to publish the register on the 15th day after the writ is issued, and to facilitate a general election.
For the Guardian News Network, I'm Jillian Gray.
Well, this snap election is happening against the backdrop of what appears to be a worsening COVID surge. Health officials yesterday confirmed an additional 14 COVID-related deaths within the 5 days between August 13th and 17th. They included 9 women. 5 old deaths were from either New Providence or Abaco and ranged in age from 33 to 84. Total COVID deaths are now at 330. There were also 114 new COVID cases recorded Wednesday, and 149 people are now in hospital. Meantime, a new 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew came into effect yesterday for the islands of Abaco, Andros, and Exuma. Those islands currently recording rising COVID cases. Well, with government still hoping the country can vaccinate its way out of this current surge, 38,400 doses of the one-dose Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine arrived in country yesterday. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Pearl McMillan says it will not be rolled out locally for at least a few days, and most of it will likely be used on family islands.
In part because it's one shot, and that makes it much easier for us to cover the family of islands. And we have many islands to go to, so if we are able to do one shot on a particular island and we're done, that makes it much easier for us.
She said that batch of Johnson & Johnson vaccines expires in 2023. In other news, with the irate electric being a surprise in the coming days, Bahamas Power and Light is warning its customers it cannot guarantee an uninterrupted power supply, but that it does have contingency plans in place. Some BPL workers walked off the job yesterday, citing a number of complaints. It's industrial action which the corporation has branded illegal. The company insisted its contract negotiations with the Electrical Workers Union have been carried out in good faith in recent months. But the union apparently disagrees with the direction in which those talks is going, and yesterday demanded again that the Prime Minister take action. Giorgio Bain has that.
Union leaders promising a surprise in the next few days if their concerns are not addressed. They said the dissolution of Parliament will not be tolerated as an excuse for labor issues not being adequately addressed. President of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, Kyle Wilson, raised concerns over a lack of health and safety protocols for workers and incomplete contracts.
BPL is still running. The House dissolving don't mean nothing. BPL still runs. There's still a government. Don't let anyone fool you. There's permanent secretaries and that person still in place to make daily decisions. All right, contracts are signed up until the day of election. And so I don't want anyone to fool themselves and believe because the House is dissolved that they can't resolve our issues. One has nothing to do with the next. Before there's an election called, there's still a government, there's still a Prime Minister, and we want our contract completed.
The union has the support of Bahamas Public Service Union President Kingsley Ferguson, who says unions have a surprise in store in the coming days.
I'm wondering whether or not this is the same Prime Minister that indicated that the PLP handled the labor movement in a strange way. Well, I don't know what the attitude is now because we can't seem to get an audience with any of the directors or permanent secretaries with a view to addressing the workers' concerns in this country. And so we stand in solidarity with our brother Kyle Wilson this morning. Amen. And like Brother Markley would have indicated, it is going to be a surprise.
Meanwhile, Bahamas Nurses Union President Amantia Williams urged the Prime Minister to meet the union leaders before drastic measures are taken.
People are dying. Where's my colleague B.S. Kingsley? We are in a serious predicament. Could you imagine if the light go off?
Amen. And the water off. Amen.
The water off?
Amen.
The country shut down?
Amen.
Please, Prime Minister, come to us.
We are sick and tired of the disrespect of this government from day one. They don't care.
They don't.
We're going to have to do what we have to do. And it's hard, but guess what? I can sleep in some heat if I have to. But we're going to put the heat on them because we're tired. I'm a former hotel worker. We got hotel workers still home on furlough, and the Prime Minister said the hotel full. Tell me, how is this? How could you have a hotel that is full? But you still have furloughed hotel workers home suffering.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Giorgio Bain.
After the break.
Summer is here, and
and Shell presents a summer of fun. Win $30,000 in prizes when you spend $20 in fuel at any Shell location, now through September 10th. Experience incredible hotel stays in the Family Islands and Nassau. Win thousands of dollars in fuel, groceries, and electronic devices. Fuel up today and submit your receipts by WhatsApp, email, and Facebook. Follow us on Facebook for more chances to win with Shell. Terms and conditions apply.
At Apex Award Signs and Engraving, the name says it all. The country's trusted name for trophies, plaques, corporate seals, rubber stamps, badges, bumper stickers, traffic and street signs, keychains, t-shirts, interior signs, restaurant menus, and so much more. Apex Award Signs and Engraving, number 128 Mount Royal Avenue in Wilton Street. Open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and 9 to 1 on Saturdays. Visit the website at apexawardsbahamas.com. Apex Award Signs and Engraving, number 1 in the Bahamas.
There's a master foodie, Fresh Market. We've provided a canvas for your inner foodie to create a culinary masterpiece. Bring your wildest food dreams to life with inspiration from our fresh meat and produce, the largest cheese selection in the Bahamas, and aisles of specialty good-for-you foods. Try making that tuna tartare, beef bolognese, or even a nice fresh avocado toast at home. Maybe even dive into your raw foods for a fresher meal. Fresh Market, where master foodies come to be inspired.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
And we have what your family traditions need, starting with industry-best refrigerators, ranges, and ovens. We also carry Whirlpool washer and dryers, dishwashers and freezers, leading KitchenAid countertop appliances, blenders, microwaves, juicers, kettles, and KitchenAid stand mixers. We even do free delivery in New Providence or to the boat of your choice. Whether you're doing the laundry, creating new memories in the kitchen, or spending family time in front of the television, Master Technicians Limited, keeping family traditions alive for more than 50 years.
I been up by Pender the other day and I meet him riding around on the payload. I said, Pender! He smiled away. I said, man, Pender, I really like what you're doing with the yard. You nod his head and keep moving stuff around. I say, with this new layout, this could be a true drive-through. Each time your house in the way with the hand, so I back on the side. I say, and with this setup, this could be a real one-stop shop. He stopped the payload and he get down. Pender say, Lampkin, do this look like a Cadillac? I say, no. Or this quiet like a Cadillac? I say, no. Well, what make you think I hear a word you say? Anyhow, don't mind him. You would like the changes coming soon to Pender.
Brother made you jump off the boat onto Porterski and make a beeline to Sun Isles. Tell Miss Wallace them, I need a battery for this, a battery for that, and a battery for this. You got them? She say, man, you joking? I'll put a battery in you too. Major say, you mean you can still energize this old bunny? She say, man, we'll give you one good overall service, lubricate your 21 joules, then jumpstart it and you'll be good as new. Major say, well, I didn't know you could do all of that. She say, well, of course I can, because that's the kind of me I am.
Sun Isles Watch & Clock, number 112 Montrose Avenue. Watch & Clock sales and repairs for over 40 years.
Welcome back. Thousands of Bahamians, including many teenagers, lined up to get their dose of the Pfizer vaccine yesterday. Jared Higgs was there.
Children as young as 12 among the first to get jabbed with the Pfizer vaccine.
I decided to take it because I want to keep myself safe and my family as well.
12-year-old Vakita Richardson is going into the 7th grade in September. She says she wanted to get vaccinated to ensure that she doesn't get severely ill if she contracts COVID-19.
If I do get the COVID-19, then I would not like to be on the worst side of it and die.
Richardson says school was difficult with the back and forth between virtual and in-person classes. Here's her advice for other tweens considering taking the vaccine.
I would tell them to most definitely get it because it is going to keep them safe, and it's nothing really to worry about because it is going to also help others. So, it'll also help others.
16-year-old Tyreek John also lined up to take the vaccine. His reason was frank.
I think it's important because, number one, I don't want to die. I think that's the main reason I want to take the vaccine. I don't want to die from COVID, but that's about it.
His mother, Diane John, is already fully vaccinated with Pfizer. She explained why she consented.
Best, and I always said once Pfizer comes to the Bahamas, I would take my son to get vaccinated because he has an underlying condition, and I think this was the right thing to do.
The Pfizer vaccine, which uses mRNA technology to instruct your body's cells to generate the spike protein found on the surface of the COVID-19 virus, is among 3 vaccine options available to Bahamians now. Officials hope that the wider options will help convince those who are hesitant about taking the shot. National soccer player and CrossFit athlete Jaime Thompson explained that after thinking about it for a while and seeing the country's desperate health situation, he decided to take the vaccine.
It's scary, and I hope it gives people the reality check to truly focus on their health and their safety, whether they're taking the vaccine or not. It's important that you wear your mask, you sanitize when needed, maintain your social distancing, do everything that you can to protect yourself, protect your siblings, your family, your parents.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Jared Higgs.
That's going to do it for local news. Stay with us, though. AP News is next.
Be outright prepared this hurricane season. Here's a preparedness tip from BOP Kids Entertainment. Not our first priority when thinking of preparing for a storm, but definitely a good idea to consider. With the possibility of power outages and loss of telecommunications during a major weather event, cell phone and tablet batteries will only last so long. What will you use then to occupy the kids in the event of a prolonged outage or if you need to take cover in a shelter? It's a good idea to have your children's favorite books, non-electronic games, and puzzles packed in a waterproof container and ready to go just in case. You can thank us later. Be outright prepared this hurricane season. Follow UseBop on Facebook for more helpful tips.
Check off all your items at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Rainbow Spaghetti and Meatballs, 15 ounce, 99 cents. Amarlanda Fresh Milk, 33.8 ounce, 2 for $2.75. Felice Ready Cut Macaroni, 14 ounce, 99 cents. Boneless strip steaks, $8.99 per pound. Yellow onions, 3-pound bag, $2.99. Open Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with double stamps on Sundays at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Your big day coming, what you want?
I know, but yours ain't too far behind, eh? Anyhow, I want Junior to give me washing machine.
Washing machine? What you want washing machine for?
Well, since Junior working on the island now and 3 people got to use your car, I figure we could wash right here.
You got line, eh?
Not yet.
And if you wash here, what we can talk about?
That's true.
That's true, eh? And if you ain't got no line, how we supposed to dry if you wash here?
That's true.
Okay, so what you want Junior to get you again?
$1,600 worth of tokens. That's how much the washing machine costs.
Now you're talking, and I'll reserve the car for every Saturday.
Gone for that. So what you want for your big day?
Half of them token.
My lord.
So we wash. We washes you, cleans you, presses you 24/7.
Introducing the new Slices and Sticks from Little Caesars, an unexpected combination. 4 slices of pepperoni pizza, 8 Italian cheese sticks, and 1 crazy sauce, only for $9. Didn't expect that one, right? Grab the new Slices and Sticks at Little Caesars Oaksfield, Carmichael Road, or East Street South in the Pineapple Plaza. That's 4 slices of pepperoni pizza, 8 Italian cheese sticks, and 1 crazy sauce, all for only $9, and only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
Everything is changing, and your favorite hardware and home improvement store is getting with the program. We Buy You Sell is rolling out its new online shopping feature. If you go to our website, wbusbahamas.com, it's a quick process. Step 1, browse the gallery and select your item. Step 2, add to cart. And step 3, check out. Go to our website, wbusbahamas.com, to shop with us today.
When I had got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Stay connected. Push to talk connected from Cable Bahamas. Buy 5 push to talk devices and get 1 free. Stay connected with your crew wherever, whenever. Buy 5, get 1 free. Push to talk from Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. Service provided by Alive. Believe in best. For more information, email businesssolutions@cablebahamas.com or call 601-8911. Limited time offer. Stipulations apply. This traffic.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices, channel 969, and BTC Flow, channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 4224796. And now at 8:23, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got high pressure dominating the weather across the area, while Tropical Cyclone Henri is pushing shower activity and sea swells throughout the archipelago. For all areas today, we're looking at partly sunny, hot, and humid conditions, with isolated showers and thunderstorms becoming fair and warm with isolated showers tonight. Small crash should exercise caution. High temperatures getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index at 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, moderate to strong winds will prevail across the area as that Atlantic ridge of high pressure will build. Meanwhile, seas will begin subsiding along easterly shores. So for Saturday, tomorrow, partly sunny, breezy, and hot with isolated showers or thunderstorms. Sunday, mostly sunny, hot, and windy with quick passing showers or thunderstorm mainly in the northwest Bahamas. In the tropics, we've got a lot going on. We've got Tropical Storm Drake that is over the Bay of Campeche, and Tropical Storm Henri likely to become a hurricane sometime over the next couple of days. That's several hundred miles southeast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, and could be a threat for the New England area of the United States over the weekend. And then we've got a tropical wave about several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands in the eastern Atlantic. It has a 20% chance of development through the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And time for another check of your traffic for this morning. In your real-time traffic, we are seeing heavy traffic on Blue Hill Road just north of Soldier Road in the northbound lanes heading towards Independence Drive. And multiple directions at that roundabout there. Southbound on Blue Hill as well, heading towards that roundabout. And just a bit westbound from Independence Drive. So keep that in mind if you're in that area. Then we've got Milo Butler Highway just near Harold Pond, and the northbound lanes will be noticing the heavy traffic there as you approach Tawny Williams Darling Highway. Gladstone Road looking a little bit better for you, but still heavy the closer you get to JFK Drive in the northbound lane. Elsewhere, we've got Soldier Road at the East Street, Windsor Place, and especially near Old Trail Road as lots of traffic. We've been seeing that all week with Nassau Christian Academy back in for their fall semester at this time. So Old Trail is pretty busy for you. And Robinson and Old Trail also seeing some traffic there. And Robinson and Prince Charles Drive and Soldier Road. Then we've got East-West Highway and Robinson Road Marathon Road also seeing some heavy traffic there at the intersection, but nothing you can't handle. That's your real-time traffic in your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
America's at stake. You know, busing is the issue. Ow! Do you have a plan with you? Woo-hoo. If you have a plan, if you have a master plan, got the vote for you. You call you're the man.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna on this Friday morning, getting a reaction to the election date being known. Called to us now, September 16th. We want to hear from you. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Also getting your reaction to all those flyers. What are they officially called? What are they called, Stephen? There's a name for it. The ones that you stick into the ground. Anyway, they're everywhere. Everywhere. Is his mic open? Yeah. Let's get some of your text messages in before you take your calls again.
Oh, sorry. I muted myself.
Okay.
Sorry, you said the what are the posters called?
There's a specific name for the ones you stick into the ground.
Oh, the lawn posters?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember what they call them. But oh well. They have taken over the island. And so, anyway, here's a text here. Dwight and Stephen, you are acting more responsible than the political leaders. I heard you pleading for the healthcare workers to save lives by returning to work. Did Prime Minister Minnis or Mr. Davis ask workers to return to work? The FNM completely ignored the industrial actions, while the PLP is only using it to embarrass the FNM. What promises did Brave make to healthcare workers? Do the PLP and FNM care about the sick and dying people, or just winning the election?
You know the answer. The thought that crossed my mind as I listened to Chester and Philip talk during the break is like, bro, y'all are talking about playing political games, but if they playing political games, who they playing with? Because they ain't playing with us. They playing with y'all. Y'all is the opponents. Y'all the ones who batting the Bahamian people back and forth over the court. They're if you have a problem with political games, then you need to leave the game as well. You don't see LeBron James saying, boy, them people always playing basketball. No, because he's a basketball player. So it's like, if you have a problem with basketball, also leave basketball alone. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, and in that very speech, we see you playing political games.
Yeah. But again, I'm going to say it one more time. For God's sake, people, the honorarium, they say they're working on it. Please go back to work. We need you. We always did. We need you. Yeah, we are. We understand your frustration. It is horrible.
I abstain.
How can you? How can you? This is bigger than that. That honorarium, come on. This is not your salary. Yeah, they shouldn't have made these stupid promises, and they should honor everything they promise. We are very angry. We're not getting that fixed election date. We didn't get a thing. We're not getting the term limits. Do we really have freedom of information? Where does that? It's still in limbo. Come on, right? We're all very angry with these people. All of them, including the opposition, all the opposition parties, everybody. But we can't just throw your hands up and like, okay, I'm not doing anything anymore. You can't do that. And people's lives are at risk. But anyway. All right, this one says here, 2 candidates from the major parties came by my house campaigning. I put some tough questions to both of them. I came away with one conclusion. They are both clueless. Yeah. Another one here. Campaigning for a snap election during COVID-19 is just what the doctor ordered. I am hopping mad that now when I'm looking forward to signing up for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, as promised, the news now hits me that this may not be possible in Nassau. Why? What happened? Huh? Why? What's the issue? The vaccines came yesterday. What? Because you think things are going to get worse? I don't understand. Explain. Tell us more. Yeah, but I do think with the school year about to start, I think this is really very odd to be doing this right now. You know, strange. Anyway, this one here. Okay, this one here. This one here, see why I just cannot vote PLP or FNM. They have made huge mistakes that have negatively impacted us financially, mentally, and socially, and neither of them will acknowledge they're wrong and just expect us to forget. I can't stand either party.
Understandable.
Yeah, very. A lot of people agreeing with you, I'm sure. This one says here, first of all, the Prime Minister still has an arrogant tone or tune. Robust economy. Dwight, I agree that we need all hands on deck, but the Prime Minister and Minister Wells continuously disrespected the healthcare worker from any one of them. The Prime Minister is overall in charge and never addressed the situation at all. All the Prime Minister knows is how to duck answering questions the people want to know. How do you expect the healthcare workers to feel? How? All this government knows is to treat adults in this nation like they are children. That's a really interesting point. This one says, aren't the cruise passengers tested before boarding? And aren't the passengers boarding here? Yeah. Well, that doesn't mean anything. You could test negative and in a day test positive, right? That's how it's been, right? So they want to see vaccination status, not just the testing. This one here, as a PLP voting for a third party this go around, Anton reminds me why. Oh boy. However, my principal reason is I can't vote for Brave as Prime Minister. And these are the same old guards and won't make the mistake I did voting FNM last election. I will try something new for a different result. Still going through the third party, but it won't be DNA. Okay. Quite curious to know who that third party is. Tell us some more.
There's a third party?
Other than the DNA. Okay. This one says, Dwight, you're asking about fairness in relation to motorcades. You think they care? For someone to call an election at the worst point in the pandemic to date in a country that uses archaic voting practices that require a lot of close contact, doesn't it seem like he is putting his personal ambition above our collective health? Okay.
So, okay. Anyway, you know what? Because my thing is like, listen, I dislike all these people as much as the next person, but you got to be fair across the board, right? It's like, was there not a cry, a loud, sustained cry for the past months for the bell to be rung, for election to be called?
For the whole year, Stephen. I'm
just saying, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, all right?
Some people.
People been saying minutes got to go from last year. And people been saying ring the bell, all this stuff, all for months and months and months. You ring the bell.
Some people, though, not everybody.
No, I know not everybody. I mean, I didn't. You didn't. Clearly, the texter didn't. But here's the thing. If you can see something is going to be a problem, don't wait till make a noise. He do what they ask. And now the other people saying, I'm hoping these are other people, are saying, why would you do this thing? Well, you got to, if that was the only voice being heard, that's the reason why people listen to the radio and they think, oh, well, I guess only crazy people in the Bahamas, because they listening to the callers, because nobody with sense call it in.
You need to stop. That is.
I'm just saying, you can't. If you only hear one voice, you're going to start to think that is the way that people think, right? And so it's important that if you hearing a bunch of crazy people calling in, you call in and say something with sense. All right?
Okay.
If you hearing a bunch of people saying, "Oh, we need to call election now," and you know in your heart of hearts that that is not going to put the Bahamas in any better situation, that we should just finish this off and figure out in time for next year what the right thing to do is, then you need to say something ahead of time.
Okay. This text here, Dwight, you seem real agitated when someone mentions the historic day of the F&M victory in August 1992. It's not only immature, but pathetic. And pathetic is spelled a very strange way. But okay, immature and pathetic on my part to be every year. Okay, listen, no one is denying that this wasn't a significant election and it was amazing and it changed the trajectory of this whole country. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the way that it is celebrated by the party is bizarre. Every year, the church service and all the stuff they do, right? Nobody has a big thing every year with the day that Lincoln won the election that eventually led to the abolition of slavery in the U.S. I mean, that's kind of weird. You know what happened, right?
If they did, they'd be better.
Oh, yeah? I'm just saying, I think it's weird. Since 1992, you have to acknowledge it, absolutely, but the church service every year and the big this and the ceremony and that's kind of freaky. Anyway, whatever. You'll carry on. What do I know about anything? Carry on smartly. Have your church services. Go wild. Okay, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay. Someone says here, remember the chant, who you voting for? Hubert them. What you voting for? The F&M, LOL. They just don't know. What? 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 Okay. The people who were asking for a snap election, now they got it, so be ready. September 16th. Love your show. Thank you very much. Okay. I think what disappoints most people about this administration is how they collectively decided to circle the wagons around the shady stuff going on when it would have been so much easier to cut loose the problem people from the group. But they chose to expel those that called them out and refused to even pretend to be accountable, all after being handed governance from the previous crew. A message must be sent to all that we can't accept such bold darkness. All right, that is a very interesting text. It's a really very good text.
It's weird that I didn't know which party they was talking about until they said, until they gave a time. Because I was like, yeah, man, that's true. Wait, what? Oh.
Because it happens every time. It happens every time. But you are very right. The people who were warning them that you're going in the wrong direction, they ostracized them. And some people who they have kept around, not just elected officials, but people in positions of authority, questionable folks from day one. And you wonder what that is all about. Very, very odd. Great text. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Stephen.
Morning.
And good morning, my blessed Bahamas. So I can know something. All year, you had people like Dave and Anton, them calling ring the bell. Now the bell is being wrong, September 16th. So if all those persons who like to wait the last minute to get things done, shame on them. Shame on all the stuff who register and who will not vote. Shame on them. Because, like we say in the Bahamas, if you don't vote, you don't have no say. You know, you understand what I'm saying, Dwight? You know, we are the country complaining about everything, everything. All the unit people crying, complaining. Nobody can got to get a job. Thousands of us, people ain't got no job, Dwight. We ain't waking. People eat the food every day. People getting groceries every week, every month. I don't know what's wrong with the people, but, you know, it's all about the freedom of butter. I voting for me and my children. And I'm trying to take my call.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. This text here, the POP is sending its documents now because they're relying on you not reading it. The POP promises are like marriage, I think they're saying. Oh, no, a mirage. Mirage. Is that what that word is? Wow, that's an interesting spelling. A mirage in the desert, unattainable, but presented well for the eyes, but it ain't real. Is it just them? Because we've been fooled many times. The promises, things that we liked, the ones who actually read these documents say, oh, they're really going to do this. And then you're waiting for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. We said that? All right. Speaking of disappointment, the people who went to register, you might have heard that in the news, they God, I guess, is it the shock of their lives? I mean, they really shouldn't have been shocked, but they were highly disappointed yesterday when they went to the Parliamentary Registration Department to register to vote. Take a listen to this report from our Jillian Gray.
Registration closed. No more registration, no more transfer.
Just after 10 a.m., a dozen people waited outside Population Department in an attempt to register. However, an officer told residents that the center was closed for registration as the House of Assembly had been dissolved.
They were disappointed and they were angry because they felt like it was a surprise to them. They wasn't expecting election to happen until next year.
A few weeks ago, rumors of an early election sent hundreds of voters rushing to registration sites. However, those who trickled in today were one day too late.
Prior to the dissolution of the House, persons would have presented themselves, but they would have been informed of the discontinuation of registration.
Acting Parliamentary Commissioner Lovato Duncanson declined an on-camera interview today. However, on Wednesday morning, he told us 194,263 voters were on the register. There are 134,729 registered voters on New Providence, 30,729 on Grand Bahama, and 28,805 spread across the Family Islands.
Remember, the numbers that we have now on the register, that would be subject to change because persons who would have been registered up to yesterday, they are also eligible to be added to the register.
Though this voter was able to get her card before registration, information about which centers were operating.
And I hope the Prime Minister is listening to me. Persons who came in from the Family Islands during that hurricane, if they have to get back to the Family Island to go and vote, I feel government should accommodate them with transportation to and forth.
Then there were those who slammed the government for not giving more notice on when the election would be called.
Between the COVID and Dorian and all that other stuff, and then you have a prime minister so sneaky, and just be straightforward. Just tell the people what it is and stop trying to play politics. He's hoping to do it the next election, but that ain't gonna happen.
So what happens now that the House has been dissolved?
The facilitation of the nomination, the notices of an election. We also transition towards the preparations for advance poll, that is to publish the register on the 15th day after the writ is issued, and to facilitate a general election.
For the Guardian News Network, I'm Jillian Gray.
Okay. Are people already saying it? Why do they wait for the very last minute? They've been warned. There have been hints. There have been people urging for weeks to go and do this now. Unless your birthday was this week, there really is no excuse. But we were promised something else, right? And throughout this time, the Prime Minister has been saying that the election's not to happen till May, and every time he was asked about an early election, he didn't really respond. He didn't say he was going to do anything. And people might have still had the hopes that he'd actually done that it would be in 2022. So, who do you fault here? And is anyone at fault? What do you say to this? And how concerned are you about this register? Are you confident that this is going to work in the way it was meant to, a permanent register that people who just like, oh, I don't have to do anything because I'm already on the register. Will there be surprises for us? What do you think? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, we can. There's a lot of background noise, though. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, okay. Just want to say that, the Prime Minister had to call the election before a certain time in September, right?
What? No, before May.
No, that's what he said. He said that incoming government would have to pass certain laws concerning the COVID emergency. And right now, the Prime Minister still he just said, he's saying this election, agreements, all this is vote. It's a fair elections. And, and people went to try and register Why would you say that, knowing that I blame the people if they wanted to vote, to be ready. But why would you say that, knowing that some people will not be able to vote? I mean, why are you trying to hinder people from voting? And if you would notice, he still has the power, the emergency order power. And I think he's going to use that to his benefit. I've seen people, people say, people don't understand these times we are living in. People are talking about the house being dissolved and all of that. But what we got to pay attention to, as the scripture says, when the heaven is dissolved and the earth is dissolved, what manner of conversation should we be in all godliness? These times we are living in, you see the people running around and they're talking about earthly things, but I want my people to really focus on the coming of the Lord. I want to thank you for the time, brother. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's take this call before we take a break. Good morning.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Stephen, when you before I get to my point, right? Stephen, when you hear those motorcades, you need to go door to door to your neighbors and find on a campaign to go against that. But Stephen still there, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
You
but
can hear me?
listen, Dwight.
I guess you can't.
What will be the Prime Minister address on Sunday? And it's not he's going to be addressing the nation since he called the election a smart move because, according to my source too, they're getting ready to move him, his people, his cabinet, what have you. So they're going to have no confidence in him. So what will be his address on Sunday since he make that smart move to call a sudden quick flash lightning election?
Mm-hmm.
He ain't giving me time to prepare for my campaign. But what would be his address? Because it's clear that his mandate ain't finished. Clear that I wanted local government, not as ain't finished. So he have the nerve to ask. But the question is, it's based on moving him, but not based on his care for the nation to choose the right leader. Have a good day, Dwight.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Okay. A couple messages as we go to the break. Someone says here, good morning, brother. You're not making any sense. This is not a good time to call an election. I guess you're talking to the Prime Minister. Okay. Given the rise in COVID cases. And what about this register? Can we be confident that it is clean? If we can recall, they were still in the process of tidying it up. Yeah, they're going to have a lot of work to do, I'm sure. Someone says, remind those last-minute people who are unable to vote of the 5 foolish virgins who were not prepared. It is the same with the kingdom of God. The bridegroom came, and when they arrived, the door was shut. Too late was the cry. The people weren't calling for an early election. The people read the tea leaves and said, level with us. When will the election be? That's not the same thing as calling for an early election. Well, some people were calling. Quite a few people were calling for an early election.
Yes, it's like don't try to rewrite history in the post.
Yeah.
Somebody screaming at you, ring the bell, is not the same thing as saying, I feel like they might call an election. Those are two very different things. One is a demand, and one is just a statement.
All of the above were happening. All was happening, right? People were calling for the election.
Don't try to this revisionist situation where it's like, nobody was calling for it.
People are in their own little worlds and hearing what they want to hear. But we know everything was happening. We were calling for the fix that was promised. Others were calling for the bell to be rung, and others were saying, I feel the bell's going to be rung. Right. So it was everything you could imagine happening. This one here, how can it be last minute if they did not have a fixed date on when the election will be called? Well, when everybody and their mother is telling you, go and get registered, right? You need to go and get registered. What are you waiting for?
Everybody and their mother was telling you. But anyway, either way. And then the other issue is that a lot of persons, the issue isn't going to be that they aren't registered, it's that they're not registered in the right place. Mm-hmm. And we know that between 2019 and 2021, a lot of persons who were renting or had their home foreclosed or moved for whatever reason would have had to say, okay, I no longer live in this constituency, I live in this other constituency. Because maybe Dorian came, and I had to move from Grand Bahama or Abaco to New Providence. Or maybe I had to relocate for work because the only place I can find work is this other island.
Yeah.
All right?
Well,
there are tons of people like that how do they prove that they moved from one place to another in their name? You
well, they were being urged
that,
to go and get that sorted out, and I hope they did. I hope they did.
It's going to be the lowest voter turnout in recorded Bahamian history.
Yeah. This person here, as we go to the break, anyone who waited to register because the Prime Minister said he would have a fixed election date, his past actions show that he was not fulfilling the things he promised, and those people would be crazy. We are last-minute people. That's the problem. We wait until the deadline is a day away and then rush to do everything. This time we didn't know when the deadline was, so if we were serious about voting, we should have gotten it done. Well, you never know. That's why you have to register relatively soon after the registry is open, after the process is open. And again, this is why this process is maddening. It's maddening, but hey. Let's take that break. We'll be back.
Pediasure, the #1 brand recommended by pediatricians, now has 33% less sugar compared to previous formula and provides 25 vitamins and minerals and 7 grams of protein kids need for a healthy growth. It's a convenient meal or snack with a delicious kids-approved taste they'll love. Pediasure, nutrition to help kids grow. About Pediasure today.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. A you want.
Many people wonder, what makes Boost Academy unique? Maybe it's our 8-to-1 student-staff ratio, the emphasis we place on student individuality, our focus on numeracy, literacy, and creating better citizens by sharpening students' critical thinking skills. One of our many talented teachers, program facilitators, and mentors. Or just maybe it is our commitment to taking full responsibility for your child's education, no hidden fees or costs. Regardless of what it is, let us help your child reach their full potential. Boost Academy is currently enrolling students of grades 4 through 12. Visit www.boostbahamas.com to apply now.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get a loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC Financing.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and carb body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Visit 19 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna on this Friday morning. Okay, I'm trying to verify. Remember that text we got earlier about the person saying they were waiting for J&J, but it doesn't look like this is going to work for them. And then somebody said that the report that we played said that J&J will not be available here. I don't think that's what it said. I'm trying to verify it. That I know they said that they'd like it for the family island. It'll be easier to administer since it's one dose. But again, as we know, it's not going to be one dose, and there will be a booster required. So, but I don't think they said that it's not going to be available for New Providence. They just said that it's not available yet. Right? Listen out for when the rollout is going to begin. So, calm down, everybody. Come on. This text here. From a set date for elections to a secret date, from a lazy way to tax to free up the money, Bahama people don't like the tactics run by them. The hallmark of this administration has been debt, death, and disease. Wow. It was the cronies' time for 40 months straight. New mandate to finish us off. Wow. Okay. This one here, the Prime Minister, I believe, is satisfied that people that got vaccinated already are sufficient for a win. I also think it was a grimy move to deceive the public that election would not be till next year, which is why we didn't rush to the registration office. That excuse is not going to work, folks. Not going to work. Not going to work. Anyway, so it's not our fault that we're not registered. This government is just not honest. Well, I guess Wells is off the hook now. I'm really sorry for our healthcare workers. Wow. Another one here. Why do people insist in comparing politicians or politics and religion? Minnis didn't do a bad job, but everyone has turned against him for what exactly, I guess you're saying? Okay. Banks close at 1. People trying to make money. People struggling. No one had time to go to register to change your address. Think of the thousands who left Abaco. They now all have new addresses. Well, we do agree that the Parliamentary Registration Department, we gave them ample opportunities to come on.
Oh, no, they're garbage.
They are. We gave them
garbage.
ample opportunities to come on to explain them. We were asking this question for months now, and they've refused. So this is not a good look for them. Definitely, this is terrible. Terrible, terrible. But with the other things, if you were just waiting around thinking it was going to be next year, come on. I remember the previous elections I was registered. If the election was in 2002 or something, registered since 2000 or something. Come on. As soon as it is open and the early eager people get out the way, then go.
Yeah, but also you have to realize that there was a lot of things happening, a lot of moving parts, all right? And so there are specifically the Parliamentary Registration Office or whatever, they got one job that they do every 5 years. All right? Under ordinary circumstances, when there's no pandemic, every mall, every tent, every tree, you could register. But you couldn't do that this year. But they really did not even attempt to go out above and beyond. They didn't even go out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they had a couple places, but the only way you can know about those places is after a news story happened about it, or if you was happening to walk past one of the few billboards that's supposed to be showing the Marcos alert, and you walk past it at the right time, and then they say, it opened eye.
Yeah.
Okay. It say 3 places. Oh, I missed it. It's only 10. It's only up there for 10 seconds.
No.
On Blue Hill Road. So I gotta wait till I come back up.
Already massive
Yeah.
failures, especially on the public relations end of this. People are still asking questions. So much confusion and people wondering, do I really need to register? If I moved across the street, if I moved down the road, if I'm just a few blocks over, will it make a difference?
And you know the wild thing about this is, Dwight, there's so many things that we've discussed, not just this year, but for years, right, on this show, that if it were to be followed, we would have less of these issues. Because if you were voting for let's say a president and not just an MP, or if you vote, like if you had local government separated from your national government or your federal government, then a lot of those people who did move would be able to still have a say in this election.
Yeah. One text is, we go, but we breed this kind of behavior for our people making excuses for mediocrity and excuses. The parliamentary registration department is open all year, and everyone was calling for it. Take personal responsibility, I say. Yes, absolutely. That's what we're saying as well. But we also need them to do their part. They need to. Well, they've been open for months, many months, and since last, right? But people need to be proactive as well. Everybody. The department needs to do a better job of promoting themselves and what they do and telling people, and answering questions, coming to the media and talking. And people need to get up off their butts and take an active role in the management of this country.
In a time where we are often told to not go around crowded areas, and if we don't have to go someplace, don't go to that place or whatever. And honestly, I have never gone to the parliamentary registration office to get dealt with. I honestly do not understand why more effort wasn't put on their end.
Yeah. All of it is right. Everybody messed up here. Everybody.
It's them.
We got a break. We'll be back in a few minutes. In a few minutes, we're going to be talking with Doctors Hospital about COVID and what's happening there. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is the Guardian News Network update on the hour. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Ferguson. Well, political paraphernalia already splashed all over local communities, and the political ads for candidates have begun as the 2021 election season kicks into full swing ahead of the September 16th vote. The Progressive Liberal Party was out of the gate first yesterday, launching their campaign with party leader Philip Davis attacking government on everything from the pandemic to the economy relations.
The government is asking you for a new mandate, for a vote of confidence. But the Prime Minister cannot solve the crisis. His incompetence is the crisis. We can't take 5 more weeks of this, let alone 5 more years.
Well, his party is pushing its own economic recovery plan, what Davis called a blueprint for stabilizing the country's finances, and claims to have a comprehensive COVID-19 action plan for beating back the current COVID surge. Well, there were 14 COVID-related deaths recorded during the 5 days between August 13th and 17th. All of those deaths either on New Providence or Abaco. Health officials also confirmed there were 114 new COVID cases recorded Wednesday, and 149 people are now in hospital being treated for the virus. A new 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew came into effect yesterday for the islands of Abaco, Andros, and Exuma as they record rising COVID cases. And despite that dismal reality, some healthcare workers continued their sick out for an 8th consecutive day yesterday. Hospital Authority says staffing challenges continue at PMH and Sandlands Rehabilitation Center, where staff continue to call in. Now the off-site blood donation drive at the New Providence Community Church, scheduled for yesterday and today, has been postponed until further notice. Those healthcare workers are reportedly protesting being shut out of government's honorarium exercise. That's what's making headlines at this hour. Stay with us. AP Update is next.
Boy, why you look so mashed up, like clothes at the washer?
No, boy, just a hard day, boy.
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and gritty.
We need to start joking with everything, you know. This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Boy, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers. Then he send me to meet this boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life and junk.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower and I ain't no snitch. I still white there,
But ain't nobody can know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Crack Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you. And your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong Salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. Reports of abuses by the Taliban in Afghanistan are growing. This morning, a report from Amnesty International says that Taliban fighters killed 9 men in Ghazni province last month, tortured to death. Thousands of Afghans are trying to get out of the country. The U.S. evacuation should speed up soon, say officials. The AP's Mike Gracia.
State Department spokesman Ned Price said Thursday 6,000 people had been newly cleared for evacuation, a major increase over previous days.
The United States military is undertaking a gargantuan airlift operation right now.
But with President Biden's August 31st deadline for complete withdrawal of U.S. troops less than 2 weeks away, it is unclear how many people are in need of evacuation. Some estimates of U.S. Afghan citizens and family range from 11,000 to 15,000. Tens of thousands of others may also be seeking an exit. Mike Gracia, Washington.
And I'm Rita Foley.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, engaging conversation, 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, August 20th, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. And yes, everybody's caught up on the election talk, but we are still in the middle of a pandemic and ever before. At this point, 14 new deaths announced by the Ministry of Health, and the numbers are rising. We've got new lockdown, new curfews, expanded curfews for some islands, and clearly we are in a very dangerous part of this whole ordeal. And you've been hearing about the hospitals in the country saying they can't take any more, they're at capacity or overcapacity, and that they are at the breaking point. We've heard this from Doctors Hospital here in New Providence as well, and CEO Dr. Charles Digges is joining us now this morning. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Steve. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we've been hearing you all week, and it is heartbreaking to hear this and understand what's going on there, but my goodness. Let's talk about it. Do you see any light at the end of this tunnel? Is it getting better since you spoke out to the media earlier in the week, or are things just getting worse with each passing day?
You know, it's probably both. We get glimmers from time to time, but we cannot predict what's going to come at us, and we cannot use hope as a tool. We can only use, what actually comes. So we have ebbs and flows, and the moments that we get where the patient flow is not overwhelming us, we make every effort to regroup. But it's fair to say that we're still in a fight. We continue with challenges, specifically with staffing. You can imagine our heroic frontline working staff getting fatigued. Some of them inevitably need to be removed out of the workspace for a number of reasons, including becoming COVID positive. And so that determines our capacity. We may have a number of beds, to give you an example, but we may not be able to put patients in beds because there's no healthcare provider to assign to them. And so this is ongoing.
All right, so paint the picture. Is it tell us how bad it is. Is it Doctors Hospital West? Is it every location? What are we seeing? What are we experiencing exactly?
Let me look at maybe three different points. Let's look at what comes to Doctors Hospital. So on a daily basis, Doctors Hospital's emergency room would see patients. So we move up to 50 or 60 patients. Then the proportion of those visits, the vast majority of the patients who are coming for COVID-related issues.
The vast majority?
The vast majority. So if 50 patients came over the last 24 hours, 5 of those patients would come for non-COVID related issues.
Wow.
Non-COVID, 5.
Wow.
So what that does is that puts an extraordinary pressure on the emergency room because of the infectious and communicable nature of the disease these patients have. It's not simply a matter of finding a space in which to put them, it's finding a safe space so that the transmission and the exposure to our staff and visitors, you can imagine that becomes quite a juggle. If we look at the second level, which is inpatients, so we have 80 beds between both facilities. We have 33 beds at Doctors Hospital West, 18 of which are usable beds. And by that I mean we have the staff that we can assign to patients. And that's in the high acuity side. That's the side where patients can be ventilated, and that's sort of like a critical care block. So that's the relationship we have with the government, where any Bahamian who needs to be managed with COVID, who are critically ill and especially require dialysis. So we're sort of the designated dialysis unit for COVID patients. That section, that part of Doctors Hospital West can take up to 33 patients, but when we have staff challenges. When you look at the Building B, which is the other side of that facility, we have 15 beds. So if you say, well, we have beds, yes, but do we have the providers, the nurses, respiratory therapists, PCTs, et cetera, who can be assigned to provide safe oversight of those patients? No, we don't. So we, over the past week or two, have looked at opening 5 beds in the Building B at Doctors Hospital West. But we haven't been able to do that in any fashion because of the pressure and demands on the rest of the health system. When we come back uptown, what we see is a similar problem where the vast majority of patients in Doctors Hospital East, main Doctors Hospital, the vast majority are in there for COVID-related issues. So if we 7 to 10 patients of the 47, and healthcare fortunately is dynamic. So patients are coming in, patients are moving out, so numbers tend to change, but the picture remains the same. 80-ish% of what is in Doctors Hospital now, these are the inpatients, level 2, 80-ish% and fluctuating, above or below, depending on, who's coming and who's moving out. That's COVID. So literally, we're running 7 to 10 inpatients for our core business on a daily basis. C-sections, emergency surgeries, and that's it. We're not able to take in elective cases now for going on 2 weeks. Right. So if you have a broken hip and you're in our health system, then you've been pended until we can our elective surgery service. And that is because our recovery room is completely occupied with COVID patients, half of whom are on ventilators.
Wow.
So that to me is the important view that patients should have. The third view is, what about the ventilators?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same problem duplicated now at the level of ventilators. We have 16 working ventilators. We have 13 patients on ventilators right now, and 2, maybe 3 of those patients do not have COVID or are not on ventilators for non-COVID related problems. So as you look at different levels, those 3 important levels in our healthcare provision, you get a theme that keeps coming at you that we are consumed with providing COVID care.
Right. Now, I know you were quoted in the media this week as saying that you're at the point where you have to decide who gets to be on the ventilators. And I know this is very sensitive, and I don't want to be crass or crude, but how are you deciding? What is the metric? What's the criteria? How are you making those tough decisions?
So physicians, Dwight and Steve, physicians make decisions on allocation of resources all the time. What makes the ventilator issue unique and stand out is that it's so strikingly a life and death issue. And so that makes it, it's very sensitive, and the public, for obvious reasons, would be interested in, okay, what process are you applying? And this is a process that we've applied non-pandemic. We have ethics committees, group of and counselors who would view what the circumstances are, and there's a number of variables that they would view. It's not something that comes with the science, even though the science is a part of the conversation. There's so many bits and pieces that one would look at. And the biggest thing is value to the patient. If this patient was to be sustained or placed on, would that bring value based on all that we know, on all the circumstances that obtain? This is not a position that any healthcare provider looks forward to being a part of, but this is a part of what you signed up for when resources start to run out. We need to look at how those resources then become allocated so that best value and the best outcome and the best results. So in some times it can be a rather fumbly, bumbly process because you get opinions and perspectives from a whole variety of persons, and you even get the reservations among the healthcare workers that this is not a decision that they would be comfortable making. And there have been circumstances where we simply could not remove a patient off, this is non-COVID, could not remove a patient off a ventilator because of so many ongoing reasons, ongoing concerns, not to even mention, when you plug in the legalities. So it's not a very easy thing to do. Right. It's not a crass thing that we look at doing, but the truth of the matter is, when we put the last patient on the last ventilator and the next patient comes who requires a ventilator, a decision needs.
Wow. Stephen, you were saying?
Yeah, no, because before he went into that, I was like, in an effort, it seems, I don't want to say hopeless, but it seems very overwhelming. What can the public do? I guess that's the whole sentence. What can the public do? Or what do you want the public to do?
Number one is to be aware, Stephen, of the dire situation that we're in and do all that you can, because COVID is coming at us and non-COVID problems are coming at us. And anything that you can do to take personal responsibility to control the chronic diseases that you have, taking your medications, doing all that you can to avoid the necessity of hospitalization. Non-COVID. COVID, to minimize your exposure or avoid you transmitting, because the virus is a very basic problem. It thrives on transmission. And the hard language about transmission is it needs to move from person to person. If it cannot do that, then it dies out. Nothing more complex than that. And so Bahamians, generally need to realize that if I become infected because for whatever reason I have not been able to avoid being exposed or avoid the transmission, then what's my best position in the fight? Your best position then is to do all that you can to make sure that if you become infected, you do not need to come into hospital. You do not need a ventilator. So how do I do that? One would ask. You get vaccinated. The door opens after that into multiple choices, et cetera, which, respectfully, I really, it's not a road that I wish to go down. I simply want to point out, again, if you do not wish to have a serious illness that requires hospitalization and a consideration for ventilation, take responsibility for your health, manage your chronic disease as well, minimize the likelihood of you being exposed or you transmitting. And then if you have to come to hospital, load up your chances of not requiring critical care by being vaccinated. That's my message, Stephen.
This has been a major concern for people with other issues, as you mentioned. What is happening with them? They might not, but they do need care. How has the hospital been able to deal with those type patients?
So, Dwight, this is a global issue because the downside with COVID is because it's consumed all of our time and resources now. What a number of healthcare systems see, and we will see as well, is the minute we start to catch our breath, no pun intended with COVID, the minute we start to catch our breath after this wave or surge passes, along will come the issues related to delayed care. So here comes another surge in non-COVID or non-COVID related issues. This is the experience. This is what we can anticipate.
My goodness. Okay. We need to take a break. When we come back, we have a lot more to talk to you about, including the toll this is taking on the staff and how you're going to deal with this over the next few weeks, and if you can sustain this, you can manage if we do see another surge or this surge is prolonged, what that will mean to your resources there at Doctors Hospital. We're talking with Dr. Charles Diggins. This is Morning Blend Business. Stay with us. We're going to be back after these messages on Guardian Radio.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. Leaving wealth for future generations.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjustment.
Final moments of the morning commute and some of our traffic lines are a bit lengthier. So while overall we have been witnessing a lower than usual traffic count on the streets, those southwest gateways begun growing and getting lengthier in the past 30 minutes or so. A lot of the routes heading into the city still at low ebb, not having any challenges. The traffic buildup happening on Gladstone Road and Samalabala Highway, obviously having that familiar effect of a traffic slowdown, getting out and hanging up along the routes coming out.
Now that it's later in our commute, finally we've got enough traffic moving along West Bay Street that the ride there slowed down a bit due to the amount of traffic on that corridor, and inner city streets are showing signs of getting busier as well. In the downtown area, it's getting busy in that Shirley Street in the Cumberland and Bay Street area. Yeah, possibly it's getting all set up now for what the midday traffic usually turns out to be like. But back to those southwest gateways, Glassboro Road and Samala Highway, that's going to take some morning. Got a larger contingent than usual, and it's a bit hefty considering. This National Traffic Report this hour being brought to you by the folks over at Garden of Eden, where you can enjoy the best food and stew on the island. Delicious Bahamian breakfast, 7:30 each morning, served with grits or a Johnny cake, and up till 3 o'clock each day. Peas and grits with snapper and 2 sides for lunch is on the menu. That's at the Garden of Eden in Eastwood. Call 819-5574. That's 819-5574 for easy pickup, directions, and to make your order. Rizzy Rider Sky look at traffic in real time. I'm VANN.
Michael was in a horrible car accident. Prudential Loss Adjusters managed his claim and got him the settlement he deserved. Sierra's roof received hurricane damage. Thanks to Prudential, she and her kids are happy with their claim settlement. Tammy fractured her ankle in a slip and fall. Prudential saved her time, money, and peace of mind. Prudential Loss Adjusters are here for you whenever a tragedy strikes. Call 36 now.
Protect the things that really matter to you. Shield Insurance is the insurance company that grows with you to meet your insurance needs through this beautiful adventure we call life. From automobile to home to life and health, boat, liability, construction, and business insurance, Shield has affordable policies, flexible options, friendly service, and the expertise to protect your hard-earned assets. Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau, call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
Wait, you know what's going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing me knife to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Wait, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you on?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, how many boys coming for me next?
All right, so we gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how do I wait?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Croc Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then if you get the pen from them, and they can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Only 168 businesses and individuals have applied for some tax concessions just introduced during the 2021-2022 budget. That's going to the Ministry of Finance. Those new incentives, which came into effect on July 1st, include the small and medium business exemption, the affordable homes exemption, the Family Islands Development Encouragement exemption, and an extension of the Special Economic Recovery Zone order. They are only accessible via application through the government's e-portal website, mygateway.com. Revenue analyst Mahalia Boodle says that between July 1st and August 18th, there were 136 applications for the small and medium-sized business exemption, 12 for the Special Economic Recovery Zone order, and 20 for the encouragement exemption. No applications for the affordable homes exemption. You can read more about this in today's Guardian business section. State Minister for Finance Kwesi Thompson announcing that the cabinet recently approved the removal of a physical planning pre-check required to obtain a business license for low-risk small businesses. Thompson saying that they believe that the country does well when they create dynamic environments for the private sector to grow and innovate. The removal of this planning pre-check will simplify and shorten the process for obtaining a business license and encourage new businesses. It's hoped the steps slow down the issuance of a business license, as even the smallest, most low-impact home-based small business must be visited by physical planning personnel. Removing this step with both speed and the issuance of business licenses to low-risk businesses will, it's hoped, to utilize and radically improve the utilization of available skills in the department. You can read more on this in today's Guardian Business section as well. And Bahamas Real Estate Association President Christine Wallace Whitfield says that she does not think a change in government next month would derail the real estate industry's push to make legislative changes to the sector, given the amount of work the sector has already done on proposed changes. The country found out yesterday that the government plans to hold a general election September 16th. When asked about this, she says the new legislative agenda and a new party possibly leading the country would not thwart their efforts to introduce the amendments for the sector. You can read more, again, in today's Guardian Business section. Overseas, German Chancellor Angela Merkel traveling to Russia today to discuss the crisis in Afghanistan, the separatist conflict in Ukraine, and Moscow's treatment of imprisoned Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny, among other issues. Merkel's visit to Moscow comes as she's nearing the end of her almost 16-year-long leadership of Germany. Despite sharp differences, she's maintained close contacts with Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has been in power for more than 2 decades. And world stock markets falling so far today as worries surrounding the spread of the Delta variant again taking center stage. Traders are watching mounting infections around the world, including in New Zealand, which is in lockdown again after reporting its first outbreak in 6 months. Positive earnings reports from retailers lifted some sentiments on Wall Street yesterday. So did the Labor Department, recording another weekly drop in the number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits. Closer to home in your market watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Thursday. Your market movers, benchmark moving 1,000 shares, closing unchanged at 160. CIBC First Caribbean moving 1,500 shares, up 27 cents to 11.26. Doctors Hospital moving 5,000, unchanged at 8.25. RF Bank and Trust moving 2,000, up 14 cents to 14.23. Consolidated Water up 5 cents to 2.36. Emira Incorporated down 7 cents to 11.39. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,084.39, up 16.07. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And we are back here with Morning Blend Business on this Friday morning. Dwight Strong along with Stephen Hanna. We are talking with Dr. Charles Digges about the challenges doctors' hospitals facing at this time as we are dealing with the pandemic. And you would agree with what many others are telling us on the show, many other health professionals telling us that this is the worst it's ever been during this entire pandemic for the Bahamas. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. It's the worst experience that we've seen.
My goodness. Wow. You mentioned the staff, some of them coming down with COVID themselves. Let's talk about that and how that's impacting the services there.
Yeah, I think it's hugely important for Bahamians to appreciate that there are a number of persons who look at healthcare as almost as their ministry. You could not pay them for what they do, even though they would like you to make every effort to pay them well. But you couldn't really pay them for what they do. They are willing and they are courageous enough to step into a dangerous environment like COVID care and do whatever needs to be done. This is what really gets them off, if you like. And so it really is important for us to do all that we can to protect them, to appreciate them, to take every effort and every opportunity to show gratitude for them, and take some basic things off the table. So what we do at Doctors Hospital is to bring what we call a rhythm of appreciation, especially to workers in that space. And every now and then, just to show them, give them something they can feel. We take considerations like hazard pay and extraordinary bonuses and moments of appreciation. We just, bring these in waves because we don't really believe that these should be issues.
In fact, has COVID been, in terms of the staff and the numbers who've gotten sick over the past over the whole pandemic?
So we have a prevailing number, Dwight, of ill folk. For example, in our reporting this morning, we have about 30 associates who are, for whatever reason, out of the workspace in quarantine. And, that 30, when you talk about, frontline workers, it's a pretty significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big number. My goodness. Wow. People keep saying this. Can we get help from other countries? Is that a possibility when so many other countries are seeing surges as well?
I think Bahamians need not to be naive about other countries. When you talk about nursing, for example, there is an almost irresistible pull. If you see some of the ads that come out from North America, if you were a nurse, you'd probably just pack up and go. There's everything provided for you, relocation, bonuses, salaries that we certainly, couldn't step up to. You could talk about, well, taxes are going to take 30% or 40% of my income. But when you start increasing the nurse base salary by 100%, then you're not in a competitive space at all. So each step of the way in this pandemic, starting with our efforts to get testing equipment, frustrated because the global space shut it down. It was very difficult to get testing equipment out of the US, our usual supply. When you talk about treatment and getting important and expensive medications, when you talk, the same theme keeps coming. When you talk about vaccination, you realize we weren't first on any list. So the Bahamians need to just be very clear that we're not a priority. And when issues happen that have global implications, we got to join the line. And that is demonstrated each time. And I think this is a very sobering introspection for us as a nation to appreciate that if we're going to position ourselves best or better in the future, then let's get a focused national dialogue on a strategy to prioritize ourselves.
Wow. It's sobering indeed. Do you have any suggestions for that? A strategy on getting out of this, on prioritizing ourselves and dealing with this when we are at the bottom of the list when it comes to priorities?
So our strategy at Doctors Hospital is to, focus on what's important, appreciate, again, frontline workers. When off this curve, then we just have to plug in all of our contingencies. We got to stockpile whatever we can. We have to realize that the beating that we took during the last surge is one that we will not take during the next surge. And so we just got to, like all nations, stockpile whatever is not perishable. Stockpile it so our preparation is much better. You got to get more ventilators. So we're not as casual about, well, maybe we'll get 2. We approach that a little more aggressively and maybe we'll get 10. It's probably best to have the ventilators in a warehouse than to start scampering around when the world shuts down access to ventilators. So it's that preparation during the valley. When we get down into the lull, that's when we have to get aggressive. During off the wave, off the surge, we must get aggressive.
Well, we've got the school year about to start. So, for some schools, it started already. We've got now an election coming next month. We're in the middle of the hurricane season. Are you concerned that this could get a whole lot worse?
So we started talking about transmission and exposure. And as a parent, this is difficult for me as it is for many parents of school age, middle school age children, especially when you're talking about changes to the virus. The Delta variant is not the last to change. The virus will continue to change in such a manner that it now seeks to infect and have terrible consequences in younger persons, so school children. So my point is, I go back to simplicity. If this is something that's dependent on exposure and it transmits, then anything that we do, going back to school and the realities of hurricanes. If hurricanes are going to come and cause an exacerbation, then that's probably top of list, because that one we can't prevent. The others, we probably should take a long look at and try to keep it relatively simple. Are we mitigating exposure? And are we mitigating transmission and the risk to a vulnerable population? Remember, there is no vaccine below 12. And there are below 12-year-olds who have become infected and who have died from COVID. That's sobering for a parent. And so the decisions that parents make, I know it'll be all over the place, but as a parent, I am not willing to put an unvaccinated child into a space that does not have the controls that I can be assured of.
Saying a lot there.
Right, because because then what happens with persons who I may be taking all the precautions, but there are other persons out there who aren't taking precautions, and because persons could get vaccinated but still get sick, and there are persons with underlying conditions where this could still affect them. I don't even know what to ask you to ask the public, because I feel like you guys you've definitely been pleading with the public to take this seriously. You've shown them, and I don't know. What is the amount of space do you think that we have left? Like, what before this is just like we've reached the point of no return, where it's like we just got to start turning away people from hospitals and just like leave people at home.
Yes, Stephen, you're touching into a very frustrating reality. And you go into spaces that, unfortunately, we don't control the behavior. We don't control the behavior of the virus. We can, though. We can. The question is whether we are willing to pay that price. If you look at New Zealand and you say to yourself, well, they discovered 1, going on to 11, then going on to 20 cases, and they shut the country down. Now, that's strong, but they have a different philosophy. They want to eradicate the virus. They want to shut down transmission. They understand that the virus cannot infect the next person unless it gets to them. So now that's radical, that's extreme, that's their level 4. But there's a message in them. Bits and pieces of that message we need to look at, because the virus is conducting this show, not us, unless we are willing to step into the space of making collective decisions that are focused on mitigating transmission, minimizing exposure. And I know that's decisions all over the place. Like how does one conduct an election campaign, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's in the weeds. That's not a place that I would go. Right. What I would go to is, are you breaching the principles of exposure and transmission? Are you increasing the risk to the Haymans? If you do that, if you're increasing the risk, then my position becomes really very clear. You're making it more likely for them to need hospitalization. Sure, Doctors Hospital enjoys good business, but not this. No, not this at all.
Wow. I know you can't get too deep into this, there are a lot of confidentiality rules there, but generally tell us about the people who are coming in with COVID, people, age groups, the type of conditions that they have, pre-existing conditions that they have, Are there people who seem to be completely healthy and you would be surprised at? What are we noticing?
It's staggering. In the initial days, we could peel off those with comorbidities, as we describe them, pre-existing conditions and elderly, worn down immune systems. That somewhat made a lot of sense to us. And we, kind of packaged that and said, fine, let's focus on that. Well, the virus has changed, time has moved on, and now the targets are exactly what you speak to. So what are we seeing? We're seeing younger people. We're seeing healthy people. Strapping healthy people falling dead in 2-3 days. No comorbidities. We're seeing young people, mothers delivering babies who have COVID. So the reality then is, because the virus changes and is continuing to change, that to me is the guiding light. Follow the behavior of the virus and let that tell us what we need to be doing, and realize that what we're looking at as far as the virus behavior is 2 or 3 weeks late. 2 or 3 weeks late. Whatever behavior we engage in, we pay the price 2 or 3 weeks down the road, and be very, very mindful of that.
We have to take our final break. We are talking with Dr. Charles Diggis, the CEO of Doctors Hospital. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio. Stay with us. We're going to be back after these messages.
There is a woman in Somalia, scraping for pearls on the roadside.
You invest in your children. You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
Wait, you know what going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Wait, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you want?
Side? I try and stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and he boys coming for me next.
All right, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how did I avoid?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and you can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying. Call 328-8477 from Nassau, or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We've got your final look at weather for this morning. We've got high pressure dominating the weather across the country, while tropical cyclone Henri, a tropical storm now, likely to become a hurricane over the next few days. That's pushing shower activity and sea swells throughout the archipelago, but no direct threat to the Bahamas at all. For all areas today, your forecast calls for partly sunny, hot, and humid conditions, with isolated showers and thunderstorms becoming fair and warm with isolated showers tonight. Smallcraft should exercise caution. Temperature-wise, look for highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will be up to 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Everyone's being urged to remain indoors, limit outdoor activity, and remain hydrated because of these triple-digit heat indices. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, moderate to strong winds will prevail across the country as that Atlantic ridge of high pressure builds over the islands. Meanwhile, seas will begin to subside along easterly shores over the weekend. So for tomorrow, Saturday, partly sunny, breezy, and hot with isolated showers or a thunderstorm. Sunday, mostly sunny, hot, and windy with quick passing showers or a thunderstorm mainly in the northwest Bahamas. And in the tropics, we've got Tropical Storm Grace now over the Bay of Campeche, and Tropical Storm Henri several hundred miles southeast of Cape Hatteras in North Carolina. There's also a tropical wave over the eastern Atlantic, several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, that has a low 20% chance of development over the next 5 years. But that is your morning blend weather check. And we are back here with our final few minutes of with Doctors Hospital CEO Dr. Charles Diggis on Morning Blend Business this morning. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. This is a very disturbing and sobering. Use that word several times. That is the best word to describe it. But it often seems like so many people are still dismissing this disease and still so skeptical about everything. What do you make of that when you hear people who just say, oh, take some vitamins and drink some bush meds and then you'll be fine?
I can imagine that they are accepting because there is a minimum level of understanding or comprehension that you need. And I think that Bahamians have that. So if you choose to take the path of my individual rights and my individual interest, despite the information that is available, then, fine. You can imagine how Noah felt when individuals decided not to get on the ark. It's a similar situation. It's entirely your choice.
Oh, wow.
So I think the other message would be, what was so focused on perfection. The virus does not behave in a perfect manner. The vaccines today, and to your point made earlier, the boosters, this is a reality of our future with this particular pandemic. There will be modifications and improvements. And so what we seek, even in my profession, what we do and what we seek is the best of what we have at the time. Tomorrow, the solution may change such that yesterday's solution may be irrelevant or may be shown to be wrong. But yesterday, it was the best that we had. So today, my message is, Bahamians, we are providing for you the best that we know of the virus and the best that we have as far as the fight. If those of you who seek perfection, perfect person, I am not the one to engage you. I don't have those answers. Those of you who are rational, who are patriotic, who believe that it is your responsibility to do all that you can to protect our limited resources, then I think the decision is fairly clear.
And to those who say, fine, this might work now, but what about the long-term effects, the long-term consequences? We still don't know what this is going to do to us in 5, 10, 15 years. What do you say to those folks?
I say that's a very valid point, but imagine that you're not here to find out.
Yeah.
It's okay to have that argument, Dwight, but I think we want to have that argument in 5, 10, or 15 years so that you and I can argue The problem is that you and I may not be here because we've decided not to take the best of what's available. If you're trying to get perfect about it, I think you want to step back a little. Life is not a perfect experience. Try to focus on what's the best decision, the best of what's available, given the best information. And yes, I'm not removing your individual rights and your individual position. I think that is important. But sometimes it's important to think in the collective.
We've got a few interesting text messages here. I just want to read these. This one's asking about the doctors at Doctors Hospital, I guess the nurses as well, everybody. How much of the staff is vaccinated? And what can be done to encourage them to get vaccinated? How can you answer that?
So this is, again, one of those disappointing areas, whether that's reluctance, hesitancy, or they simply were too busy. But we continue to run anywhere from 20 to 40%, depending on when you do poll our staff at different times. And we've gotten 20% who've given evidence of being vaccinated. And we polled the shift, and we found up to 40% giving evidence of being vaccinated. So you still have a balance of healthcare workers who, for a number of reasons. Now, interestingly enough, over the last week, there's been a surge to the extent that there's been an appeal. Can Doctors Hospital at least accommodate staff now interested in being vaccinated by having the vaccinations available within Doctors Hospital? Unfortunately, the Ministry of Health has decided to return that ability to us. And so we will make it available for staff who are now interested. There has been a wrap up, and maybe all the activities over the last week and the realization of the reality has been a part of that.
You said that will be happening. You will be able to do it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, we've gotten the assurance that will be happening.
All right, that's excellent. And then this keeps happening. We keep getting messages about this, but people who are oh boy, let me just read it to you. We are refusing to accept the CDC's definition of a vaccine, and that vaccines produce immunity, and that these are not vaccines. What do you say to that, Doctor? We've been trying to tell people otherwise here, but let's get you to respond to that one.
It's interesting. So you can have the luxury of going into the weeds as much as you want, being the smartest one in the room, looking for the one leg up in the argument. It can go on and on. Yeah. I mean, I can only smile at that. I don't have a response to that. There's something that's been made available to us. It's in a category called vaccination. Strictly speaking, yeah, maybe you're right. Okay, we can give you that. You're right. But you got to get the shot. You got to get the shot. Call it.
You want to call it?
There you go. So
call it whatever you want to call it.
Whatever it is, when you get it, tell people you got it.
If it's going to save your life, do you really care what it's... Half the time, I don't even know what aspirin is. I'm going to be honest with you. I know it's some type of acid that's compounded or something. I don't know what it is. But when your head hurting, you ain't sitting down saying this isn't really a painkiller, because pain is nerves, and nerves, you don't go through all that. You take the aspirin.
That's a great example. Nor do you actually sit down and look at each element in the aspirin and determine, well, I need to take this particular element out.
Right.
The definition here is incorrect. For those who have the energy to go down that road, into that rabbit hole, great. I don't.
No, what they need to do is go in the rabbit hole and stay there. And that way they can be socially distanced away from everybody else.
Oh, dear. Well, we are out of time. Dr. Charles Diggins, you've been very frank with us this morning. We really appreciate that, and we hope people are paying attention to what you're saying. And we all have a role to play in this, as you mentioned. Thank you again. Hopefully we get to talk to you soon, and hopefully when we do, things will be looking a lot better.
But, Dwight and Stephen, thank you very much, man. Any opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, that end. Stay safe, everybody. I'll be back on Monday with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.